Right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a very special live stream here on the YouTube channel. We are joined in voice, the disembodied voices of Eric. Eric's here with me. Hi, Eric.
I'm here. You know, I don't get to typically hang out with Seth on his streams, but we're playing a very special game today, one of our favorite indie games of the year so far. And, you know, unfortunately, I'm not going to be the only voice, the only extra voice in Seth's head today. We have a couple very special guests joining us for this.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
I just had the temptation of just staying quiet.
It's nobody.
I just would have no-sold it. I would have been like, oh my God, that's so interesting. Wow.
This is Scott Christian. I'm one of the co-creators of Lil Guardsman. I was on the writing team, like so many indie projects. We all did so many different things. I was one of the writers, one of the game designers, and I was the composer for the score.
And joining him is me. This was my impulse for the disembodied voice. It's the ghost. I'm Jeremy Lapalm. I'm also on the writing team of Lil Guardsman, one of the game designers, and an actor. You'll probably hear my voice as we play through the game today. So I'll let you see if you can spot who I am.
Well, Scott spoiled it for me. He told me in the email who you were, but I won't spoil it for the viewers.
But for those of you guys joining us from the Lil Guardsman side, welcome. If this is your first all-in Nintendo podcast content, we are a variety Nintendo show that Scott and Artem actually were kind enough to join us for episode 191 a few months back to talk about this fantastic little game. And we just had an amazing, fun time hanging out, talking video games. And we consider you guys very good friends of the show now.
Here.
Much appreciated.
And it feels very sort of appropriate now that the game's been out for 3 months. It's out on all the things. It's on Steam and it's on the consoles. Switch is our biggest one. Switch is we have found the biggest audience on Switch, and I'm not surprised because I feel like there's some real Nintendo vibes to our game. So I'm sure just thrilled about it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love that. Well, guys, we're going to get into the game. We want to show off the game for y'all at a certain point. At an undetermined point of the stream, I'll draw a winner of our Twitter giveaway, and we might even have some more stuff going on as well. And we'll talk about the game. I'll let these two folks kind of chat about kind of what we're seeing as I'm playing it. We're starting from a fresh save, and get things rolling here if y'all are ready.
We're gonna Mystery Science Theater 3000 this thing. Let's do it.
Yeah. Let's do it. So we're gonna start a new game here. I can't hear it, but y'all should be able to hear it on the stream. Let me know, guys, in the chat how the volume levels are. If I need to turn anything up or down, just let me know. We'll get this little intro cutscene here. Fully voice acted game, by the way, which is not always the case. So
yeah, I think for an indie game of our sort of scale and scope, that was from day one something that we sort of dreamt of. And even when we made the sort of demo that we shipped to publishers or the prototype, that was fully voiced.
Yeah,
wow.
We thought as a game, as a comedy forward game, we thought a way that we could kind of help inform the comedy of what we're doing was to do it live, to have the lines read and recited that way would help the timing and the tone of it.
Yeah, and
that's amazing.
Jeremy is a deeply unfunny person, but the rest of the cast, we pulled from. Matt and Jeremy and I were the three writers, and we work in theater and film and TV here in Toronto with a lot of very funny people. So it was just calling in all our friends to. We had, I think it's 14 actors who do the 100 voices. So
wow,
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, man.
Getting to see this big area called the Sprawl just absolutely laid to waste here in the early going. You know, it's terrible. It's if only there was a way that we could protect the Sprawl in some.
We wanted to start the game with worst case scenario.
Must have been having a nightmare.
Fair. Let me move myself somewhere I'm not blocking these beautiful character portraits.
Well, I mean, it does do a good job of setting the stakes. Like, if you fail, this could be the consequences. So even though you're a young child performing one of the most important jobs in the kingdom, you know, no pressure, right?
Yeah, a way to like to let you know, like there are, it's funny and there are stakes.
Yeah. I will point out this is a very boring technical thing. If you go to settings, there's streamer settings that will force all of the portraits to one side or the other, which will give you a space for your face.
What?
Oh no, sorry. That must be a.
Oh, it's like a PC thing.
That's a PC thing.
All good.
Fuck.
All good. All good. I was like,
Oh, it's been
that's
a pleasure
awesome.
being here, guys. We really enjoyed our
It happens. Still, I mean, I can move myself easily enough. It's fine.
But we did make the game with like streamers in mind as a way to like interact with the people you are playing the game with, and it is, you know, a choices based game. So we wanted people to have the option to talk amongst themselves, figure out like what do we want to do, what does our community want to make happen.
We definitely pictured content creators playing sort of kind of by committee or playing with their audiences, asking the audience like, hey, what should I do here? And that sort of hypothesis.
Hey, Chet, should we let the vampires in?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been amazing. It's been such a we watch the streams of our game obsessively. It is a problem, but yeah, that's been so surreal. Jer, I know you've caught a bunch of them.
Yeah, and what like for me, like Scott alluded to earlier, I work primarily in live theater, so seeing people play the game well after the fact, and especially it's translated. The text is translated into Spanish, basic Chinese, German. So seeing people, especially in Spanish, play it in a language that I'm not familiar with, but I know the game, and just seeing people enjoy it in a different language blows my mind. Really.
That's awesome. I love
I
that.
never noticed the Nirvana poster.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of Lil's room is awesome. There's all kinds of stuff in there.
And this was the other thing. Our animators, we were offering them the characters, and then they would come back with their interpretations of what we've said, and they would add jokes of their own, like especially the guard shed, all of the sets that we have.
Yeah, we didn't prescribe any of the Easter eggs that they threw in. They just went wild with it, which is so cool. It was really nice to like. There were 7 of us, but like everyone gave as much of a shit, and everybody like I don't know. It
Just
made
rainbow vomit your own personality into the game.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we created a cast and a world where there was lots of room for that, where like all the references didn't have to be in a certain quadrant. It's nerdy in lots of ways.
Yeah. I love the little bit of environmental storytelling of the ninja star stuck to the top of the board there, implying that somebody like angrily threw a ninja star through the door or through the window there. That makes me
Probably
happy.
her.
This is a spoiler alert that's in the marketing materials, so I don't really care. In the back half of the game, your decisions have plunged this kingdom into war. And we had fun like degrading this environment. So it's the only background that sort of really changes. There are new backgrounds, but to sort of break it down and damage this background was really fun. So the ninja star gets some friends in part 2 of the game.
Love stuff like that. So we're getting a little like tutorial here as we're, your dad is kind of putting us into the guard post that he typically works at. Hey, Fulia, I see you in the chat, Fulia. Fulia says I might have to pick this game up over on Steam so that she can play it on her stream. There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, just like you were saying, you have your amazing / terrible father dropping you off.
He's amazing.
He is.
Come on
he is
now.
amazing. He is amazing. I don't know if I'd trust my 2-year-old child to do something, but you know what? He's got.
Hey, she's
stuff
12.
to deal with.
Yeah, wait till your child's 12, and then you can just peace out.
What's funny is, I mean, there's a couple of funny things. The inciting incident is Lil's being dropped here because her dad needs to go place a sports bet on Goblin Ball. One of the biggest podcasts after your podcast that covered us, I think it was Artem's favorite podcast. So he really took umbrage with that. Like he really had a problem with how like flippant and glib we were about gambling. Like the podcast was really like, gambling is a serious issue. It's no laughing matter. And our response was just like come on. Like, yes,
it's Goblin
of course.
Ball.
It's Goblin Ball.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's
it's a means to
He's just
an end.
he's clearly just never seen a match. If he's seen a
If
match,
you've seen Goblin Ball, like
yeah.
and through the you will you will see Goblin Ball, and it's glorious.
I wasn't even sure really what I was watching when I saw the Goblin Ball match, but I knew that I needed to play.
So I think there's maybe 5 or 6 Goblin Ball matches. So you can miss them or you can fail to trigger them. But I wrote all the text for the Goblin Ball announcer, and my goal there was the more you learn about it, the more confused you are.
It'll make less and less sense the more time you invest in it.
We do. There is a Lil Guardsman Wikipedia page, which is really cool. I would love for someone to try to lay out
All
the rules.
the rules such as you could discover them.
I'm sure somebody is currently trying to write a wiki page for Goblin Ball, and I'm sure that person drinks. I will say I'm a huge Calvin and Hobbes fan, so I'm inherently a fan of Goblin Ball.
Oh, hang on.
Calvin
We have to hear this voice acting here. Sorry.
Oh, this is glorious. Yeah.
This is somebody very attractive must have done this.
It's hard being the most handsome member of a voice acting company. Because you can tell people, but without the picture, without the headshot, it's
That really falls flat.
just your word, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Jeremy does the voice of Malcolm and a couple of other characters, but primarily Malcolm.
Yeah.
Who, yeah, I'd say Malcolm and Echo the Wanderer are my 2 favorite Jeremy voices.
Yeah.
Oh, he's Echo also.
the Wanderer. Echo
Echo's
is
great.
for those who haven't seen. Echo shows up a little bit later. He's a mashup of. Basically, he's Stoner Gandalf.
Yeah.
Gandalf meets the dude from Big Lebowski. That was the mashup we were going for.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I talked a little bit about the youth of Lil, but honestly, based on the roundabouts time period that this game would be taking place in, honestly, around 12 years old is when you do have to kind of grow up and go out of the house and start making a life for yourself. I mean, life expectancy back then was probably around 30 years old. So, yeah.
We are all
12
very old men. We are very old men by that
Yes.
Yeah.
This X-ray scanner can
So yeah, it probably was time for Lil to get up off her butt and go, start making a life for herself. What a lazy little kid.
Freeloader. Absolutely.
I know, right? Living off all of those Goblin Ball winnings, man.
All she wants to do is go and throw rocks at things. Who doesn't?
Honestly, that's what it does.
So what we're learning about here is we're looking at some of the tools that you can use to determine if you want to allow people passage into the sprawl or not. Very, very important. These things run on crystals, which is a limited resource in order to use them. And in addition to that, you have a limited amount of action points that you can spend to make your determination. So you do have to be kind of careful with what you do here.
There was a line just there that really triggered me, where it says, she hums Finders of the Lost Relic. After we'd finished, we heard from legal that all of our brand references were going to get us sued. So we had to go through the game and neuter all of the references we'd made.
Man.
Finders of the Lost Relic, I think, is a great knockoff Indiana Jones title.
But stuff like there's a line that's a riff on Sharon and crossing the river Styx, and you have to pay. And in that joke, we say you need to pay the Uber driver to Cat Heaven or something.
Yeah.
And we had to nix Uber, anyway.
Wow.
You're making a game. Don't use brand name.
It's tough because we did want a lot of referential humor. A lot of the characters who come through the gates are kind of bizarro or knockoff versions of popular fantasy and sci-fi genres. So but it did become a lot of fun to find what is a knockoff brand Star Wars, whatever.
Or it's a combination of things.
Right.
I don't know.
It's weird. We recently played, as a matter of fact, we're featuring it in this week's episode of All In a Nintendo Podcast that everybody watching the stream should definitely check out as soon as you're done with it. But we're talking about a game called Open Roads, which weirdly actually makes a ton of real-world brand and product references. So I wonder if maybe Annapurna's lawyers are just that good, or if they got some kind of product placement deal or something like that. So maybe you guys should get like some product placement deals for the Sprawl next time.
They muscled us. They scared us right.
Oh, I bet.
I think the learning there is to publish with Annapurna next.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. Yeah.
Pitch to them. Yeah.
There you go.
Just if you're listening.
Yeah,
Interested.
for friends at Annapurna Interactive are listening to the stream.
Looking
you
for a
know.
particularly handsome voice actor.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
So this
In
is
case,
the
you know-
Wicked. This is your device at the Gardes will allow you to let people in or send them packing.
Yep.
Throughout the game.
job,
And
Lil.
You've
Your
very
mother
wisely
will be
let
so
through
proud to see
sweet
you
Mrs.
now.
Abernathy.
After
It's
my
weird. There's a
delivery,
broken
I'm off to
third
watch
handle
them.
there. I wonder
Got
what
my
that could have
grandsons
possibly
in
been.
I
Harrisburg
wonder.
riding on a tip that the Stapleton Snughorn
That's
are gonna win it today.
something that we tried to do. So our game
Here's
is,
a tip.
I think,
Never
like
lend Mrs. Abernathy
deceptively
money to
simple,
bet with.
but what like the core thing that you
Let's
do
hurry
across
along
12
to the
levels
game.
is sort of
We
the
don't
same,
wanna be
but
late, do we?
every level we try to change it up or add a new
My name is
dimension or a new
Seamus.
challenge.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was something I think
Time to put on your
originally we had all
big
3
boots.
levers, which
You
are
can do this.
spoiler alert, admit, deny, jail.
More like I'm being
But when we were
forced
trying to
do
figure out like,
this.
okay, how do we ramp up the
It's
complexity
only
in the
for
early
today,
levels?
I
We're like,
swear.
oh, let's take one
Come meet
away.
me in the
Let's
tavern
make
when
this
the ship
creative
is
by
off. Good
omission
luck.
rather than addition. Yeah.
Good luck with
Well,
your
I will
illegal
say that in
gambling.
terms of adding in new ideas, new mechanics,
I don't
as you were just
need one.
talking about, I would genuinely play an entire spin-off based on like the monsters levels.
That was a really
Okay,
fun
well,
day
you
where we
got
came up
this.
with the what about the night shift? Like who's working the graveyard
Yeah.
Yes.
at this and getting that
Nailed that
Change of tone.
tutorial. We did it.
I am interested. You guys say you've been obsessively watching other streamers and people play this game. Are there any individual reactions that really stand out for you guys?
One of the first ones I watched was of the demo when we were part of Next Fest last June.
Yeah.
And it was a young woman in the UK, and she just kept calling the jokes before they came. She said, "Oh, I wonder if this is going to be that." And
willing them into existence. Like, I really want this reference, and then like boom, there it is.
yeah, and she just like it was just so fun to see our like dream player in real time. Like I think our audience there's lots of different people who like our game. But yeah, it just felt like the embodiment of who we thought would love this game. So that was cool.
Like, and,
How about you?
and their references, like there are some to like the musical Oliver. There's a sequence that there are some lines that are like a guy sings basically a parody song version of "Consider Yourself at Home" from Oliver, and this particular streamer was like, "Oh, I get that. That's from Oliver," and I'm a music theater nerd, so I'm like, fantastic. My
love that
audience has
stuff.
found it. I can rest easy.
An important thing to note here. Let me move myself out of the way for a second.
Oh yeah. This is...
You have to look at the Royal Writ when you begin your day, and it'll have like funny little bits of writing, but also instructions for how you're supposed to like kind of go about your day and things to look out for. So this character has told me that they have that they're going to be like speaking at this demonstration, that the second note there is notated by Councilwoman Ash. So I meant to call her to do their secondary screening, and that's kind of a tip as to like what I'm supposed to do when I encounter a character like that.
So this is my first time, like I've gone back to early chapters, but this is my first time like seeing the tutorial level again of the game, and seeing that note congratulating Randy on 35 years is amazing.
So you never meet Randy in the game, but Randy is the terrible guard that we just reference over and over
He's
from what
been there
failure.
forever, and there's an arc there that's part of just the wonderful world building of like
I
you're
was
in the
invested in Randy.
Awesome. But like throughout the game, like you kind of hear Randy's story through these royal writs.
And he's brought out of retirement during the war, and he's managing the food stores, and he
Just biffs it
Yeah.
completely.
no, it's been fun. Like what's crazy about game development is we finished, like the creative team finished last September, and then we headed into QA and porting and the technical side, and then it released in January. So, like, I haven't gone back and looked at it until very recently, and it was a nice surprise that I still liked it.
One thing to point out
We
here.
were like pencils down beginning of summer, but is this the results screen?
So the results screen, you're graded on your performance and everything, of course. But as you'll notice, there's like a medal kind of at the end, which means that there's like something, like I got 3 stars, so like I did what I was supposed to do, but there's something extra that I missed with this character. Because I did not get the medal. So that's something to notate. And a little bit later, we're going to get a way to sort of go back and redo these entrants. So
It's probably the whip. You probably forgot to just use the whip on him. I'm sure that's it.
yeah, that's probably for the best with that
And
character in
these
particular.
early turns to have character, like just have the tone of character, like that. The first one, Tyronius, he's just such a, he's so sleazy and unlikable. And the instruction is, like, do your job, let him in. But then it's a matter of like, but I don't like him, and like finding that push and pull of like, I don't want to do that, and it doesn't feel nice.
And there are times in the game where you've been given instructions and the stars reflect if you follow the instructions, but like what Lil wants and what you as a player want goes against sort of the rules.
Do you follow the rules or do you follow your heart?
Right.
I will say you give the player a deceptively large number of tools. Not only do you have those 5 items in the cabinet that you can use, but you've also got the Royal Writ, and you've got the 3 kind of leaders of the sprawl that you can call. So was trying to balance out the necessity, the use of all of those tools. How hard was that to nail down?
I'd rather save
It was
charge.
it was difficult to
I haven't had someone see me in my
to
skivvies since.
sense like what, because you get
Yes,
3
Alabama.
actions, to find a way to get you to have different routes to the same result without it being like,
This
oh, I'm
one
just going
has
to hear
been
this
through
same
enough.
speech 3 times. Like, to have, like, there are certain turns where you can use a tool and it will unlock something for you.
Kelly is a
Where
lot
if you
younger than me. She probably has a
repeatedly,
lot of energy.
you can find your way
Oh, you
to
tried
get
giving
there
up the
without
best years
using
of
the
your
tool. So
life and pushing
there are
out
different
2
routes to
baby
get to the same
cyclopses.
results.
Orlando is a
So finding ways to creatively double up or find
And when you
different
get-
paths to take you to
like
different
this
things
zone
altogether.
fucking
There are
no one
some
is at
turns
home.
that are extremely labyrinthine, and there's like
Yeah.
everything takes you to a different thing, but
Have fun
there's a
with
lot
that,
of sort
little
of
surprise,
dovetailing
Kelly.
and doubling up too that happens. Again, imagining that the average player is maybe going back and playing everything a second time,
Oh,
so there's enough
I just
depth
had the most
to support
vivid
that without
mind-like
too much
feeling.
overlap. But there was also a point where our third writer, our partner who's not here, Matt, he's the king of the spreadsheets, and he literally laid out like, okay, how many times are there cool things to do with the decoder ring? Got to make sure that tool's represented, or the
Yeah.
whip.
Yeah,
Because
I was gonna wonder if something like that happened,
And his
because
new
I mean, you
girlfriend,
guys take the time to
Kelly's
create
week
these
with them.
things. You want to make sure that
you wanna know
they're
what the
implemented
kids
enough
say
throughout
about
the
her?
course of the game.
They
So I
think she's
imagined that
fun.
something like that was going down. You get to
I'm
the end
sure
of
the
development,
letter
and you're like,
they wrote is
oh
all
man, we
about
only used the
her.
metal detector
Can't
like
decode it to
for
save my
3
life,
things in
though.
this
My
entire
kid's
game.
writing
We've
is
got to
so
go back.
lousy.
I would say that there are some people who have sort of said like, oh, like it's the X-ray and the truth spray, like that's the way to play this game. But to those people, there's
That's
a lot of
one
funny,
way.
there's so much funny shit you're missing if that's how
Yeah.
you're playing this game.
Yeah. Well,
I
here's a
genuinely
good.
want to play the game like whip only and see if I can actually get somewhere
Well, what-
approaching a decent.
There will be a couple of times if people watching might have noticed, like I tried to use a couple of different items on her, and Lil will kind of chime in and be like, but you'll still get like some good dialogue or anything with that. But this is something to notate here too. Sometimes just spending one of your action points to interrogate them will kind of clue you in on something that you could use to find out a little bit extra. So right now she's saying, I have this letter, but I can't decode it. And it's like, okay, well, I guess I should probably try using my decoder ring, right?
Yeah.
Especially in this first level where the
That
player's
letter
getting
was
their
pretty
bearings,
much a
it's
legend.
really hand-holding you to the decoder ring. And when we get to Grumpkin T. Dankworth, the
Definitely not Ebenezer
guy.
Scrooge,
Yeah.
somebody else.
like he uses the word whip, So like it's really
Right.
it's really sort of offering you what you should do.
I really like his arc. Well, I don't know if arc's the best word, but the relationship that he has with a certain character within
Yes.
the game.
I don't know how
Locklith
to
in the
tell
chat
you
here.
this.
This
There's a little
character
bit
is
better than
me.
meets the eye.
I can
Message
weirdly
right
see
here.
that, Locklith. But yeah, as you can see,
It says,
the character
"Tom,
just
son,
showed you this
mommy,
letter,
Kelly
and there are a
is
lot of
night
characters
more."
within the game
Does
that
that make
have
sense
their
to
own
you?
items that they
Oh
can
my
show you,
God.
but you can
My
also
boy's putting on a
confiscate
spell.
either
Also,
as
that thing about
part of
Kelly
that
being the
character's
worst.
interaction, or maybe even to use for future character interactions, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah, we the traditional adventure game is all about sort of inventory puzzles that we really lightened
Yeah.
that up. I'd say there's maybe half a dozen sort of key items that you can't sell. Mostly the items are just to hawk to buy crystals and upgrades.
Orlando Jr.
But we did want the aspect of like you can take things from people
Good luck.
as part of your duty at the guard shed.
And King's Quest them with other characters.
Yeah, and now
like
we
that as a
figured it out. So we get a little we get a little medal there.
With
So
the medal. If you had an action point, Denise de Cyclops, she's the first character that can swear a lot, and I think it's the first point for a lot of people.
Yeah, that they use the truth spray gives
Yes.
you that
Yeah.
Yep.
that particular
okay.
tirade.
But I think that's something was hard about our game is because it's cartoony, because it's a kid protagonist. Like, is it a kid's game? And we knew that it wasn't a kid's game. We knew that it was an adult cartoon, sort of a la Futurama, a la The Simpsons. But it's tough. I think a lot of people sort of judge a book by its cover, and then they hit Denise, who swears her face off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's part of the gag, right? Is the fact that it's a young
You don't
child
see it
who's the one
coming,
doing
yeah.
this job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's Whip Boy, who we
Yeah.
mentioned earlier.
I have important business to attend to.
And Lil losing just
Shake a
all
leg.
of her
BS
pupils.
waits for no man.
Yeah, Lil's reactions, the series of animated reactions that Lil
Yeah.
has.
I think she's got 18 expressions that I sort of had to deploy through the script to bring her to life.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Fun fact: the actor who plays this character also voices Tyronius, and I think he voices 90% of the British accent.
He was the narrator at the
Yeah.
beginning of the game for the nightmare opening
And-
sequence.
and his name's David Leishan, and he-
Complete hack.
He's a terrible human. No, he's a very he's a Shakespearean actor. Like he's a very serious actor. And he had so much fun doing our silly shit.
Believe me,
Yeah.
you'd feel it.
In terms of like the direction, when you guys were in the booth, like was there an actual like vocal
he say
director?
blood pool?
Because one of the really
Isn't
cool
that
things about the
legal?
game is, all the different
He
voice
didn't
actors
say
are all
blood,
kind of
though. He
matching
said
the same
bloody good.
tone. It feels like they're
It's a
all
form
bringing
of
the
slang
exact
he
same
must have picked up
vibes.
from
Obviously,
somewhere.
they're doing different
Is that
voices,
right, you
but they all
bloody idiot?
fit within the framework of this game, and that feels like that says to me like, oh, the voice
Yes,
director
sir.
was
Wh-
really
whatever
really
you
good
say,
to
sir.
make sure everybody was on the same page. Was there actually
I'd
a
like
lot
to
of
take a
that going
closer
on, or
look
did
at
you
those
guys
gold
just
bars.
collaboratively get together, find out the tone you needed to hit, and then just go from there?
Our voice director was our third
think I
writer,
need to
Matt
hold on
Bernard.
to these.
He voices the radio sequence.
So
All the
good.
radio announcers.
He's
are
the radio
Matt.
announcer. That's Matt. So you'll hear him through the course of the game, and having him as part
it's
of
not
the
like
writers also in the room directing. Like I sat in myself for a lot of the voice, and I played a lot of the voices as well. But I was always here, actually physically recording people. So the three of us could constantly check in, like, does this match the written word? Does this match the tone that we're trying to get these across with these characters?
Yeah, and we're based in Toronto, Canada, so the voice cast are all Canadian actors, and they're all pros. So I'd say we didn't have to like make the acting good. I'd say what Matt did mostly as a vocal director was make sure that they hit the jokes right. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, it was
What
making
kind of
sure the
business
audience,
do
like
you
a
have
lot of
today,
comedy is making sure
sir?
the audience isn't getting ahead of you,
I shall
especially
be
with
leaving the
this
details of
written
my
word
BS
style. This was kind of new
appointment
for
with
us
some
to have
nosy
people
little brat
reading
tending
and
feet.
hearing at the
Mind
same
your
time,
business, or you'll get the
to try to
whip,
make sure
child.
that we stayed just ahead of the audience so that we could land the jokes on our own terms.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
We mustn't keep you from your ever
And
so
so a lot of
important
that process
meeting.
was like, we need the joke to be within.
Yes,
It can't
right.
really be sort of dialogue,
Yeah, it
like
can't-
a
it can't be-
knock setup, because you don't know if they're gonna click in a fashion that will make that joke land. So all of the
Yeah.
jokes are within
I
a
already know
line.
about the
Will
goal.
have the cadence and the tone, and mostly it was speed up, like just go faster, because like actors,
I already know.
we all want to just really consider the thoughts
Hold,
and the
hold that thought. This is a good opportunity. Actually, I think this is a good Stryker dialogue. So you've uncovered this criminal activity, and Stryker is the captain of the guard. She's Brienne of Tarth from Game of Thrones. Very
Totally.
gently iterated.
I never put that together, but absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I think especially as you go on, you get a sense of, oh, this is a situation where this advisor will have an opinion about it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the three advisors just having those different notes of like the political intrigue, the military presence, and then chaos, kind of being the three
Yeah.
elements that you could go to, was a lot of fun for us to have. And
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
give you, it almost is like a different
different
objective. If you have one of them that you particularly like and want to please, then there are methods to go about doing that.
Yeah.
But just all the different ways that any given interaction could go. That's, I mean, I've got to imagine that on any given playthrough, a player is experiencing maybe like 8% of the game's dialogue.
Yeah, I mean that was a challenge with like writing a narrative game that we wanted to have a really good story, but we also wanted to give the player choice. So like
Yeah.
how do you square those two things? So the A plot of the game sort of, you make some key choices that affect the variables, but the sort of main story is the story. But there's all this stuff that you're seeing one version or the other, or you're just completely missing stuff, which I think is fun.
And you get to form your own, like you get to build the Lil
This
you
is
want to
Lil.
be, and form the relationships with the people coming through that you feel like. If you particularly like someone, you can let them in, even if you're not supposed to. If they're not like
Okay, and where
doing
exactly
what the
is-
higher ups want, if you like them, you can build that
She
relationship
hung up.
with the NPCs.
Yeah. The real game is the people we let in along the way.
Yeah, I mean, probably my favorite thing about the game, just in general, I love this character too, but probably my favorite thing about the game, just in general, is just like the balance that you guys have struck of like, yes, it's very funny, yes, it has like this irreverent like sense of humor, but there's a real heart, you know, at the core of the game. And you guys, not only is there a heart, not only do you tap into like a very sweet like familial relationship, not only is there a lot of world building with the Sprawl, but like you also have something to say, you know, with it too. Like there are themes of like racial inequality and things like this in the game, and so you guys paint a pretty wide you know, canvas here. So
Yeah, I think like we wanted to make the dream game that we wanted to play, and I think when we think of the media we like, it's all of those things. It's like Everything Everywhere All at Once is really funny and
yes,
heart-wrenching and has lots of great action. So I think we wanted to make something that
Garby
hit a lot of
Bunches?
different quadrants.
Funny name.
In terms of
But
the
that's
heart of
gotta
it
be
and
made
this
up.
like
I'm
father-daughter
gonna have to see some
relationship,
documentation.
I gotta shout out my co-creator. So it was me and my sort of university best friend Artem. We were on the podcast with you guys. He had just had his daughter Jackie, who was still a toddler at the time, but Lil was such a
He's
thought
right.
experiment for him,
Everything is in order.
imagining what she'd be like. She was already like really precocious at 2. What she'd be like at 12. So I think like he didn't fight us. We didn't argue for it, but he kept checking in, being like, "Oh, are we getting like moments of sweetness? Are we getting moments of like their meaningful relationship?" Because that was, I think that was his anchor to the game. And then Matt and Jeremy, who are comedy writers, got to write the jokes and the
I've
heart.
always
I don't
said
want
this
to
place needs a
diminish your
nondescript
contribution
vendor.
there.
Well, they
Comes
just
up
make
a
each other
little.
so much stronger. Like if it's just
Mhm.
all jokes and no like substance, it gets very tiresome. It doesn't. It's really hard to it's really hard to maintain that.
I look forward to buying.
So
Yeah.
the heart of it
Something.
really lets the jokes kind of pop off the page, more so, and the heart kind of
to sell lemonade.
just
but I
set,
could see a stall
brings
full
you
of,
back
well,
to reality a
capes
little
and
bit.
monocles.
It's
Really tap
It's-
into the
and it's-
opera
it's-
and
it makes each other
vampire
stronger.
market.
Right?
It's
How about
satire, it's
flowers and
parody, and I
ointments?
think if it
Who
was
doesn't love a
just
good
like if it was just American Pie or the like Scary Movie or whatever, you don't care, or you couldn't sustain a 7-hour playthrough. So like we love all these characters, even the silly ones. We love them so much. So I think like that kept us from going too broad or going too.
Did you hear that? This guy says
I will
he
say
wants to
that
corner a little old lady
in the podcast,
market.
you know, just to plug that again, episode 191 of All In Nintendo podcast that everybody should check out. I won't spoil it here,
Thank you.
but you guys tell us a really interesting story about a sequence in the game that shows, like, is a perfect example of Lil Guardsman showing its heart that was in danger for a while of getting cut. And I really like that story and the reason behind making sure that it didn't get cut from the game, making sure that it got left in.
Yeah, go listen to the podcast. I won't tell the story again, but it was interesting because when you start, you have all these ideas and you have this sort of vision of what it's going to be, and then sort of in the back half of creation of anything, I feel like it's all about editing and all about cutting and seeing like what's essential. And that story was about this like really beautiful sentimental moment that didn't have anything to do with the plot, wasn't necessary. So it was on the brink of being cut, but no, you need the heart, you need those moments.
Yeah, completely agree. And I also love this character that Seth is interacting with.
I love Garby
right now. Yeah,
one of my
Garby's
favorites.
so great.
He's so
I
like,
honestly thought this was going to be a one-off going through,
right.
But yeah, this character shows up a couple times throughout the course of the game.
He's a major character. You interact with him a bunch. I just love how like the endless optimism, like just the sort of like he always has stars in his eyes, like he's always kind of looking to the future, and I don't know, he just seems
And
like
he just looks
That's the reek of
like,
opportunity.
like he's just
See you around.
not a success. Like, look at this, look at this. Like
the tie.
dreaming of capitalism, but like button it up, Garby. Come on.
Yeah. There's something
Patchwork.
about him, though. He's got this real 60s Hanna-Barbera feel to him. I feel if Fred Flintstone lived in the sprawl, he'd be Garby.
A little bit. Yeah.
Again, with at the risk of getting sued, I think the directive to the artist, to the character designer, whose name is Hafa Gallardo, was I want this character to be a little bit Patton Oswalt visually.
Totally.
Oh,
He
yeah.
delivered.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally.
I see that.
It's like he's kind of in that vibe. He's kind of a little like Drew Carey in there,
Yeah.
like a little bit. Yeah.
Very much.
Totally. Yeah.
Well,
So
that's
first
the
day
end of the first shift. Yeah, that's
Congratulations. Well done.
we did it.
The kingdom hasn't burned down yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
You nailed the tutorial. Good job.
Now this is
definitely not
something.
condescending, but
Yeah,
It-
you know.
For anybody that plays this game, don't just skip past like a lot of the flavor text at the end of the shifts, at the end of the missions, because some of the best writing in the game is in those kind of mission recaps.
and for the shift complete thing, if you're finding that like 1 star, like if you can't figure, a lot of the times it'll be the tone of the game telling you, the player, like giving
Yeah.
you a little bit of feedback of sorts, either like you're a monster, or like maybe try this time next time, dumb
Yeah.
dumb, things like
Wonder
that.
if they were telling the truth? Ellipses.
Yeah.
Exactly. Our rule for those were if you get anything, if you get a 1 star or 2 star, that text will always guide you towards the answer. But that text will never guide you to the 4 star. The 4 star is for you to find.
Is
for you to find.
experimentation and creative thinking, I guess.
And this part of the game was such a good idea, just getting Lil out of the guard shack for a little while, making sure
Yeah.
that wasn't the only gameplay that you experience. As fun as something might be, shallow one-dimensional gameplay,
Oh
you know,
my, were you left
is-
behind?
The same as
The
kind of
last
the
group of
comedy
schoolchildren
and
departed
the heart
hours ago.
balance. Like we needed
Feel
something
free to wait in the lost
to
and found
balance,
box
like
until someone comes to collect you.
balance the turns and the level-based process of the shed with something a little more
No,
free
you
flow
called
and
me.
organic.
I'm
that you
Lil.
could
Yep.
We
do
spoke on the
inside.
phone. I was
And
covering
like
for my
obvious,
dad at the South
like
Gate.
one of our main inspirations was Papers, Please by
Of
Lucas
course,
Pope, which
Lil,
is
yes.
like a genius work of art.
Amazing game.
But no,
Yeah.
this
We
is
wanted to
highly
take the
irregular.
things we loved
But
about
then
that
again, you don't
and
have to
take
do
it as far
for the
away
sake of
from
Sake
the
of
things.
time.
Like,
Do you
I think
get
the
it?
things that make our game great and the things that make that game great are very different, with some overlap. But I think when people get out of the shed, it's a
Trust
surprise
me,
because,
you
or
will.
if they've been sold on the Papers, Please thing, they're like, oh, I get to see beyond it. I get to
Who
walk
are
around
you again?
and that's sort of the Monkey Island DNA, the old LucasArts adventure games.
Totally.
that's
Marquess
in this game.
Beatrix von Matterhorn, head of
Yeah. So we're
archaeological
meeting
research at the Royal Academy.
Dr. Beatrix von Matterhorn. And
But you
she's a
can
very
hide.
important character, and kind of she sets up some pretty
Gotcha.
important both
What's so
narrative
great about
and
this
gameplay
place?
elements with the game here.
Would you like the long or short
There's
version?
there's a couple of characters that give big sort of exposition dumps, and there are always ways to get through it faster.
with some of
like,
that sweet
like
exposition,
right here, you
baby.
can
Hit me
you
with
can hear
that
more.
sweet exposition, baby.
Yeah.
Literally.
This place
Yeah.
is known as the dig site.
You want backstory and flavor?
Yeah.
How
Well,
creative.
Oh yeah, yeah. We want all the
We
backstory, all the
stand at
flavor
site
text,
on
all
which
that.
Power crystals
love
were
it.
first discovered.
This
Yeah.
in this conversation is one of my
The power
favorite
crystals that I use for the tools in the guard shed?
dialogue option trees of all
Those
time.
and
It's just
every
3
other
versions of
technological
increasingly
marvel of our
aggressive.
lifetimes.
Nope. I actually took a screenshot of that and I turned it into
I
a
am
little
the
bit of a
preeminent
personal
expert
meme, and I've
in
been
the
sending it
advanced
to people.
properties of power crystals.
I
And
appreciate
my
that.
research
That's amazing.
suggests we have barely scratched the
A
surface of what these
character
puppies can
touch
do.
that I didn't notice until the game shipped was that her earrings are like
Okay,
a
but again,
like an
what does
isotope,
this
like
have to
the
do
like
with me?
Yeah.
the atomic symbol. It's just like little stuff like that that we were all throwing in
Lil,
that I think just
have
makes it.
found how to harness
takes
the
it to the
crystal's
next- for a
power
small
to
game,
alter
it makes
the
it
very fabric of
the
time.
details, the attention to
May I
detail
present
that,
the
that,
chronometer
that
3000.
the animating team put into this.
And what I need
the
to know
words
from
that
you
we were
is,
giving them, that
do
they
you know
gave
anyone who would be willing
so
to
much
go on
as
what
well.
some might
Like
call
and this,
an adventure?
the design of the chronometer 3000, which you're receiving right now, as
I
a time
mean-
machine, it's perfect. I mean, obviously, it does. You know what it does when you look at it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I mean, and when you give somebody the option that just says push the button,
You want to push the button? Or
Like-
do you want to talk some more?
And I love
How
it
do you
between the
not?
chronometer 3000 and between all the different Easter eggs and little things that you can notice. I mean, this really turns into, you really should take a second look at this, the game.
yeah, man,
Pushing the button.
push the button.
What's going on? Oh no.
Yeah, you got to
Oh,
push the
no.
button anytime there's a opportunity to push the button. Lil's a little freaked out.
Oh, there we
Where
go.
am I? What
Yeah.
just happened?
I feel like that's fair.
Yeah, it's an appropriate response. There's a lot of love for the art in the chat. I just think that everything is really high quality here going on. Freak out and pick up the phone are our options. We're gonna freak out.
I was just at the dig site. Now I'm
That's
back
what I
here
chose.
somehow? Quick pants check. No
Quick
PAs.
pants check.
Great.
And you can of course keep freaking out.
What was she going on about? That device thingy? Oh my god. Why is it here with me? Did I just...
Hey, Sean Capri. Sean Capri's in the chat. Hey, buddy.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. This is so cool. This is so fun.
Good afternoon. This is Dr. Marquez.
It's not fun for Lil right now. She's so traumatized.
Yeah, it's a lot for a 12-year-old. A lot to take in.
I remember the first time that happened to me. I mean, it was a big adjustment.
Yeah, like you do.
One of you
Yeah,
game
you
guards
gotta.
to come down to the dig site as soon as you can.
So you just picked
What's
the
going
choice. The
on?
choice
Don't
that you
you
just
remember
picked makes doesn't acknowledge the time loop. So she just says the exact same thing. But in that moment, if you'd
She
chosen
hung
deja
up.
vu,
Again.
you can get her attention and sort of explain it. And I mean, it was a nightmare for us to manage. But all these like little, if you don't zig, then you zag.
Why, hello there.
That's what I'm saying. Like in a game like this, the permutations are.
Mhm.
It feels like there's a near infinite number of permutations
stop you
and
there.
different
Your
little
name is Grabby
branches
Blanchard,
and
right? You're a traveling
multiversal
merchant or
kind of
something?
zigzags that you can take.
Well, and obviously, obviously,
Oh,
there's
I see
the
my
edge of the map.
reputation
Obviously,
persists.
there is the
Kinda.
limit, but
The name
hopefully
is
we covered
Grabby
enough that it's
Bunches.
that illusion holds for most
This
players.
is so weird. I swear, I already dealt with this guy. I can either do the same
Do the
thing
sing
as I
thing
did
as last time, or maybe this is a chance to try
something
something different.
I'm sorry.
Here with
Are you
Garby.
talking to me?
Need a jail Garby.
That's what I'm trying to
Go
do.
Yeah,
into the
son-
future, get the lever, then come back.
Send Garby to prison.
Regardless, here's my vendor
And-
license.
And there are
But
those
a
characters
scroll
that if you
full of
deny
trade
them,
for
they're just gone from the
confirmation.
game, or if you jail them, they're just gone for the game. but there are other players where we had to like, oh, this person can't be in jail, this person can't be denied. So in those moments, the one of the advisors will call and say, oh, you can't jail them or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I might need that.
Similar to the way Lil sometimes
think
will say
I'm
like,
gonna
I
need it
can't, I don't
more."
think I can use this right now. There will be elements of
Okay,
like,
if you say
we are
so.
going to
I
politely
need to get
stop
this
you
guy
from doing
processed
that.
and get my butt back to the dig site.
You hear that, Garby? You have plot armor.
I have Garby's vendor license now. I'm sure that'll be fine. I'm sure there's no issues.
Get out of
swear
here.
I've
We're a
done this
communist
already.
nation at
I
the
remember
sprawl.
pulling the lever.
Capitalist
Can
pig.
you smell
Glory
that?
to our Dotska. Is that the
Yeah.
is that the
Yeah.
Papers, Please?
Papers,
world?
please.
I'm so curious if
got it.
like if Lucas
See you
Pope has looked
around.
at our game, because like if he's googling himself even a fraction of as much as we are googling ourselves,
I need to
like
go
I'm
back
sure
to
he,
the
I'm
dig
sure he's
site.
seen it.
What
I'd just be so
happened?
curious what he thinks.
Yeah, I'd be curious what he
As a
thinks too.
self-professed Papers, Please like.
Yeah.
we are.
Get Lucas Pope on the horn. If we ever have him on the podcast, I will. One of the questions we'll ask him: are you familiar with Lil Guardsman?
And do you have any angry words for them because you'll pass it on?
I have an in. I can put a bug in their ear.
It's so weird when it comes to people who create games like that, the like hyper serious, really heady theme titles. It goes one of two ways. One, it's somebody who, is probably working on their own manifesto, or it could be like a stand-up comedian, like the way
Oh my. Were you
Jordan
left
Peele is the
behind?
one who
The
somehow
last
makes
group of
movies
school
like
children departed
Us
hours ago.
and Get Out.
Don't feel free. I need you to listen to me. Something
And then
very
you've got
strange is going on. My
I
name-
think Christopher
Oh,
Guest, who
Lil
made
from
the
phone
like
call earlier, of
Best
course.
in Show
Yes,
and
yes,
Yeah.
Final
yes.
Tap. I
But
think
no, this
And
is usually
Princess
irregular,
Bride.
but then
Let's
again,
throw
I'll
some
have to
Princess
do it.
Bride love in
Yeah,
here.
sake of time.
he's the
Sake of
six-fingered
time.
man.
Do you get
Yep.
it?
Yeah.
I think he's famously quite a serious person. Like he's so
I
funny,
already told you
like in
no.
his work, but just
Oh,
like as a
wait, I
hang,
actually
he's quite a
do.
serious dude. So
Wow.
you never know.
I can see that.
My name
Yeah,
is
you never know.
Dr. Marquess Beatrix von Matterhorn.
Here we are. Time
Getting
shenanigans.
some deja vu here.
Biological research at the Royal
Do you want to,
School
Jared?
for
Do you want
Smart
to talk
People.
about the
You
current
said I can call you
like?
Trixie.
Here's the
We've been
plot
through
of
this
the
before.
Chronometer 3000. Do you want to talk about like that
I
as a
prefer
mechanic
if you call
and
me
also a
B.
plot
Well,
contrivance?
that's what we tried to
And
do
this is
with
the
the
site where
majority
power
of the
crystals
game,
were
is
first
finding
discovered,
ways
and
to like,
you used them
okay,
to
what
make
do
a
we
time
want
machine.
to happen? We want people to be able to go back and try different
Then
things
you baited
because
me
there
with
are
promises
so
of
many
adventure and pretty much
different
forced me to
directions
push the
you
big
can
shiny
take.
button on
How
your
can we
silly
find a
little
way
time
to
machine,
write
and
that
now
into
I'm
the
pretty sure
game
I've just traveled
as
back through time, and
a
I'm glad
feature
it freaking
rather
out
than
here.
well, you could always just go to the menu and kind of restart the level if you want. We wanted something that had flavor, and that flavor and in doing so,
Wait, why am
it
I
felt
asking
like
you
so many
questions?
things kept
For
opening
any
up,
of
like
this to be
because
possible,
we've
it
done
would
made
require
this
the use of my
a
newly
choice and
crafted
made this a
device.
part of the story.
May I present
When we
the
wanted to go
Chronometer
further and like,
3000?
well, what are the ramifications of it? What is the fallout of
Wait,
you
where did it
going
go?
back in time, constantly
Do you mean
retrying level? Like,
this?
how do we then? Like it was, you're doing this, therefore
My
now there are
invention.
time loops.
How did
Now
you
there
get
are
that?
problems with the space-time continuum. Now there is,
yeah.
and that
You
is
gave it
like
to
a
me.
soft
Well, not really, but you were gonna give it
thread
to
that
me, I
that kind
think.
of that
You were
the
in the
waters
middle
kind
of
of keep
explaining.
bubbling more and more as you get further into the game with that.
And you were seduced by the
Just
glowing red
you
button.
know, being familiar with, being at least a little familiar with the development process
Can you
of
blame me?
games. Already starting to
Yes,
play it and
but
looking
it
at
is a
all
good
of the
button.
different,
I'm
we've
just
already
proud
talked
of
about it a
myself
little
that
bit, the
your
different
particles weren't
permutations
immediately
and
dispersed to
options
the
that
furthest
each
reaches of space
of
and
the
time.
different interactions can have. Once I got to this
That
point in the
risk
game,
becomes
and I
much
realized that you
lower
guys were
once I configure
introducing
it to your
actual,
individual
factual,
life
literal
source,
time
which I will
travel,
do now.
which is so famously easy to write. Time travel stories are famously easy to inscribe. I was like, were they
At
they
any
actually
rate,
ribbing
I
the
think the
writers
castle gate
with
is a
this? Is like,
perfect place
we
to
want to
test my
make a
prototype,
Papers, Please,
and I
like
need a
with
willing
time
gate
travel.
guard to use the
Like
device.
were you trying to make the
And
original
allow me
writers
to
room
track their
quit?
progress to make sure only the right people are permitted
Yeah,
entry to
they
the sprawl. Do you have any
they quit.
questions?
We're the second generation who for the beast.
Yeah,
brought up.
you picked up the torch.
Yeah, I mean it's
Here's a time bomb. Bye. Yeah.
Individuals or groups
like,
that
yeah,
would
I mean,
improve the
the
daily life of the
the
inhabitants
challenges
the
of
sprawl,
writing
rather than
time
those who
travel
would
that
see
makes
harm
sense
come
that
to the
doesn't
community and
contradict
castle.
itself. I mean, we introduced like Dr. B in this interaction is like, yeah, but and you can only use it in the guard shed. Like,
well,
there's a
I
bunch
suppose
of
it
sort of
is, but
silly things that we had
recently
to
the
kingdom has
impose
seen a rise
to
in
not break
rebellious
the mechanics
factions,
of the game, and
envious
that's
neighboring
like that's a
nations,
tension
not
as
to
you're
mention the
building and you're trying to
resentful
figure out
mages
what's
guild,
fun.
since the power
Like
crystal has
like I
replaced
might
most
have a
household magical
like
applications.
I might have this ambition for this story beat that's brilliant, but
One
it'll
wrong
kill the
choice
fun,
could
or it'll
trigger
mean
a
that
domino effect
like
that could
the
lead
player
to
has to
fall
sit
of
there
the
and
sprawl.
sort of listen to dialogue for too long. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's I don't know how solo devs do it. I don't know how people who do all of it by themselves, how they produce great games, and lots do. Like, I think our game is only as good as it is because it was like 7 people bickering for 2 years.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was the pushback. It was like,
Oh.
well, how does it work? You go back in time, like no problems, and then you
There's,
can go and do it again.
We got
there's
the
a-
Foolish Fuji in the chat.
Go ahead, Eric. That's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Oh, you were? Oh, okay, yeah. Question for the devs. You may have mentioned this in the podcast, but I'm not remembering it. What was the inspiration for the character Lil?
Well, I think she is.
I know in part Artem's daughter,
So to
right?
recap,
Yes.
you're giving
Artem's
me, a
daughter, I
12-year-old
think
who worked exactly
we
one day at the
because you
house
can
with the
play
power
her
to
different
rewind
because you can
time,
use different tools,
why
you
not
can
just use it
trust out
yourself?
and tease. We sort of had to imagine 3 versions of this
I have been
character.
testing
The
the
most
device
sarcastic
myself for
version,
months.
the
In
sweetest
fact, I
version,
used
which
to
is the
repeat
trusting
months
version.
worth of the same
But
day,
for
and
me,
learned to play the elbow.
inspirations was
Can I
it's
show
sort
you?
of Homer Simpson and Lisa Simpson.
Lisa Simpson was
Yeah.
definitely a big,
Yeah.
had a lot of that, especially for the doubtful, like when Lil pushes back
Oh,
against the
well,
adult,
perhaps another
the
time.
authority figures who are
My
talking to her, and
calculations
she
suggest that no
questions
changes
them.
I could
That
make
was a
from my
lot of
post at
Lisa
the Royal
Simpson
Academy
for sure.
would have
Yeah, there's
nearly
like
the
little,
impact on
this
Sprawl
brilliant
that
little
you
shit
guards
shit
do.
disturber. Another like going back to
Academia,
like
am
the
I
very
right?
core of the idea
So
is
I
so
came
many
to the
video
conclusion
games are
that trying
power
it out at the
fantasies,
gate
are
is
about
a
Yeah.
like
calculated
Yeah.
a
risk
chosen
worth
one
taking.
story, and you get bigger and better weapons, or you
I
get
think I get
powers.
the idea, Dr.
We
B.
always
I'm
wanted
ready
to
go
play
out
with
in
the
world
idea
and
of
use
like
this device properly.
a character
But
that could be
definitely not
dismissed
to win
or
the lottery
overlooked.
or to repeatedly watch
Lil
people
is
trip
a
and
normal
fall over and
human
over
in a
again.
magical world. She doesn't have any special powers. Her power is she's like, if
Do
you
you
play well,
want
that she's
that?
sort of smart and sarcastic. But the idea that like she's a kid in
I
a
have a feeling
menial
you're not
job,
using your
and yet
science
all your
experiments to their
decisions are
full
shaping this
potential.
epic story. So I think we were sort of thinking like, who's a
Regardless,
character
you'll find you can't use
that
it whenever or
we can
wherever
give all
you
this
want.
sort of
It is now
narrative
calibrated,
power
so
that's
it
gonna
will
be
only
overlooked.
allow you to
Yeah,
fill
like
space
in the
and
grand
time when you
scheme
are
of
inside
the
guard
story,
shed.
Lil would be a footnote in history,
Alright.
but because you see it from what she's
Furthermore,
doing,
by
you
default,
realize
the
that
device
this
will
is the person
automatically
who
allow you to
has
travel back to the start of
indirectly
your
or
guard shed,
directly kind of
including
shaped
your loadout.
why this is happening.
After
However,
the
I
fact, I wasn't thinking
hacked it
about
a
this
bit
at the
so that
time.
you
I
can jump back to a
this makes me
specific point
this
in the turn.
dates me.
Hack is the
There
key
was
word.
a cartoon show I loved when I was in high school
I
called
have to leave
Daria.
now.
Did you
There
ever
is
watch
more
Daria?
Oh
stuff
yeah.
my god, love
Big
Daria.
time.
Soon, and
So
we will
this
see
just
what
like
else you
dry,
may be ready for.
sarcastic,
Thank you,
and
Lil.
she's high
The
school
world
age,
thanks you.
but like seems wise beyond her years and is just like
No
biting and
pressure.
cutting sarcasm. I think Lil at her most sarcastic
You can do this.
verges on Daria.
Just try not to break
Mhm.
space
See
and
that.
time.
Big time.
She needs some work boots and like a green cardigan or something.
I'm
Yeah.
not kidding.
I'd watch that crossover episode for sure.
Maybe I should.
This is-
Lil
they're-
trying to
Working
let
the
people
gate
in and
for
out of the
one day.
classroom.
How have they not done like? I mean, I don't know how popular Daria was or whatever, but like you could totally imagine like an Aubrey Plaza led Daria thing. She'd be a great
Absolutely.
Daria.
Absolutely.
I could see that.
It's getting pretty late.
I can see
I
that. I
should
mean,
head
they've
home.
already done Beavis and Butthead in live action with Ryan Gosling at this point, and Daria was a Beavis and Butthead spinoff. So,
Let's do
I
that.
mean, take the logical next step, you cowards.
Or with the amazing Sean Pilgrim animated series that brought back the original cast. Maybe we need a new Daria.
oh
cartoon.
yeah,
The
the
Scott
animated.
Pilgrim, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be great.
So
So, are you
we're-
guys looking to? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You guys looking to kind of approach your next projects with the same vibes, with the same level of comedy? Because I was thinking, I mean, maybe you can hire that
Dad's over
streamer
there.
from the UK to help you write the next game.
I think on one hand we'd love to do more Lil Guardsman stuff. Like we'd love for the stars to align We've got
we've built a world that there is room for more. Like there's
Yeah.
more story that could be done in this world.
Yeah.
But I think as a studio, I mean, Artem and I have been thinking about this for like 3.5 years. We made this game in 2 years. We're excited to like play with other flavors, but I think like humor and comedy are always going to be in the DNA of our games, and character and storytelling. But like if this is a take on an adventure game, I don't think our next game will be another adventure game.
Goblin Ball Manager 25.
I'm ready
Hey,
for it.
there she is, my hard-working angel-faced sweetest of the sweetest
We're
daughter of
actively
mine.
seeking investors for Goblin Ball Manager 25.
Who's gonna
It'll
launch
make
the
your
ceremonial
gambling
first
debut.
slingshot?
I don't know.
Who will throw the whirligig? There's tons of questions
No,
that
but it
you,
wasn't
as
my
the
fault.
Goblin
The
Ball
other team was
manager,
just too good.
will need to answer.
But I didn't lose
Exactly.
all my money. We still have
Most
left
of
what I
which is
didn't
going to
bet.
be injury
So-
management, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Where do you put the
That'll
injured
be
people?
15 gold for the
They all play.
And now we
Excuse
don't
me.
have any.
This is one of my
Hey,
favorite
Lil, did you
locations
take
in the
any
game. So
bribes or
this is
pickpocket
the
anyone
Twisted
today?
Sisters Tavern, and
Yeah.
that's one of the Twisted Sisters there. That's a stupid reference that we don't really pay off that we did, but it's stuck. I
Oh,
think-
it's
yeah,
one of many.
one of many. We knew we wanted. I think
I got
there was a
this
version
off
of
an
the game
old
for about a
meme type
second
guy.
that was
He
just the
insisted
guard
that he just
shed
kept
and the
walloping
tavern.
and
So you'd
walloping.
play the guard
I
shed,
don't
and
think
then
he
certain
likes his
characters
work.
you'd see in the tavern,
Yeah.
and then we added
This
more
is
locations,
perfect.
so you
Arna,
could have
a round
a
for
bigger story,
everybody.
bigger
I'll
world.
be right back
But
after
we
I call
wanted,
my
we
guy.
always knew we wanted
Thanks
this like
again,
hub
Lil.
location that you could put the people that you
For the
Wait,
people
let
who
in.
You'll
let
never believe
you
what
let
happened.
in will congregate and
Yes.
and have their
Yeah.
continuation.
Right at the end of my shift, I got the
Yeah,
phone
the
call,
pub does
okay,
feel like
asking me
kind
to
of,
come down to
if
the
there
dig
is a
site.
hub area of the game, it would be this pub.
Absolutely,
Did you remember to lock up the shed?
absolutely, and in every location
What?
you'd see this,
Yes.
and I actually, Artem and I would say
And
to
turn
the
off the light.
background artists as they were sketching,
Yes,
it
I
needs to
did,
be like
whatever, just
70%
listen.
medieval fantasy and 30% something
You
else.
gotta make
So, like,
sure
this
to
is
turn
such
off
a
the light, Lil.
stereotypical
They'll
sort
charge
of,
us for the overnight
um,
usage.
A stereotypical sort of medieval.
D&D
I
Yeah,
style.
exactly.
that
Yeah.
you would tavern.
I
But
think.
then there's like linoleum tile and a jukebox.
Anyways,
so
Dad,
so it's
I met
it's
this
that
professor
sort
at
of
the dig site, and
70%
she
one,
had this time
30%
machine, and when I
other
touched the time
in
machine,
there.
I went back in time.
Skulls and swings, you know.
Then she gave me the time machine
Yeah, I
to
love
use
that.
when I work the guard shed for you, but it only works at the guard shed, so
Oh,
that
and
was
this
kind of a
sweet little
bummer.
girl
But it's
trying to
super cool,
explain
and it
that I
only
now
works
have the
for
power
me.
of time travel.
It's like, that's
Oh,
nice,
yeah.
dear.
Dad, oh, yeah,
That's great, sweetie.
Yeah.
Today.
that's
You don't
great,
have to make
sweetie.
stories just so
You
can
don't
work
have to
another
make
shift.
up stories just so you can work another shift.
Wait,
No, Dad, really, I
that's not
have
what's
phenomenal
happening.
cosmic power. Oh, aren't you a little bugger?
Anytime you want to be just like Daddy and
Fun
work down
fun
at the
fact
guard
for
shed,
this
all
scene
you need to do
specifically,
is
I
ask.
can't remember if it's Emma or Arta who are the two
Dad,
sort
you're
of
not
bar
fully
wenches, the
comprehending
owners.
what I'm trying to tell
The
you.
voice actor who plays Hamish is his partner
Hey,
is
Arta,
the
did you
voice
hear?
actor who does
Bill's making up
Councilwoman
cute
Ash
stories
and one
so
of
she can be
Arta
more
or
like
Emma.
her old man.
Amazing.
Oh, that's so
awesome.
sweet.
Yeah, Hamish is probably my
I have
favorite
the
character in the
power to
game.
manipulate time, and I
Just
demand
'cause
you take
I just
it
love
seriously.
like he's a little aloof, and yeah, like he is, he's gambling and stuff like it, but he really does, like, there's such a loving relationship there. He wants to get this thing right. I love his design. I love just like that warm kind of like smile that he's got. I love the performance. It's just a 10 out of 10 character for me. I love him.
Adorable.
The best
But honestly,
Steam
Lil, you
review,
can cover
bar
for me
none,
anytime you
and we've
like.
had lots of
You're
great
probably
Steam
doing a
reviews.
better
We're
job than
very
me
fortunate
anyways.
that way. Is just Hamish is a DILF. That's all the review says.
Hamish
Big
is a
thumbs up.
DILF.
Yeah.
I mean-
full
I
game, my
expected it
feedback.
to go.
Locklith in the chat says it's the beard.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
I
Yeah.
can see
I
that.
better
Beards
So
are
you guys
great.
saw
If
my
you have a
review.
beard,
Game.
Yeah.
if you have a beard, you should never
You
shave
better
it
get
off.
upstairs to bed, Missy.
Yeah, it would be silly to shave the beard off, right?
Yeah.
Fun fact revealed in the chat before this. Jeremy's doing a play right
Good night,
now,
Dad.
and
Maybe
they forced him
someday
to
you'll believe
shave
me.
off his beard.
Good luck with
revealing-
Glorious too. It was beautiful.
I
The
don't need
connectors
luck.
were thick, red, and just a little hints
Oh.
of gray for wisdom. And now it's just grown baby. It's just
Oh,
Legend says that
imagine.
he donated his beard to Locks of Love.
can you donate beards? Is that a
That's enough
thing?
adventure for one day. I'm ready to
I
hit
would
the
love
sack.
to see someone wearing a hair wig of beard hair. It's horrifying.
Beard wig. Yeah.
Let's start a band, guys. We're gonna call it Beard Wig.
Beard wig's a
It
pretty
feels
great
like
band
something
name.
that feels like something that Garby would sell.
Okay, so we've completed this kind of like first intro section. Should we pop over to a to the wheel here and
Let's do it.
select
I think mayhaps we should.
select the
Yeah.
winner of the
Because
Twitter
we're not
giveaway?
just having sweet hangs with the developers, we're actually giving some stuff away, folks.
There's swag.
There
Great.
is.
Free shit.
That's right. So let's go ahead. So I've got everybody loaded in here. For those who weren't aware, we did a Twitter giveaway. All you had to do was follow us, follow the Hilltop folks, and retweet it. So I've loaded everybody who did that. We're gonna pick the winner, and then we'll contact y'all after the stream to gather your region, and then we'll get you the code. So yeah, if y'all are ready, let's go ahead and spin the wheel.
Yes.
May the odds be ever in your favor. Let's see what we have. This is going to be...
Spin the wheel.
Oh. Nick NY is the winner of the Twitter
Nick.
giveaway. Congratulations. Presumably they're in NY. Presumably it's a New York thing. So yeah, we'll be in touch and we'll get you your copy. Congratulations, Nick NY.
Congrats.
Thanks
Very
for
nice.
participating.
You have been given the gift of awesome indie games. Truly the best gift that you can be given, especially in 2024.
I think so.
In this economy, who doesn't love that?
Exactly, yeah.
I will take this opportunity to shamelessly plug that our game is on sale right now on Switch until the 23rd of this month.
Yes.
So right now is our best, our sort of deepest discount so far on Switch. And if you're also thinking about picking it up on PC, it's on sale there too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it doesn't
I've
mean
got,
this month whenever you happen to listen to this video. He's talking about May 2024.
Right.
Hey, I listened to
Yeah.
this in June 2026 and you were lying.
There are people who are that dense out there. And I will say too, if y'all are interested, I do have a purchase link in the video description to the North American eShop page anyways. If you want to pick up the Switch version of the game, you can just hit that and easily grab it. So
It's been like I said at the beginning, like we're loving the game on Switch, and it's just so fun as a handheld game.
It
so
is.
It's working well on Steam Deck, but really on Switch, it's kind of perfect. It's a good on the go game. We talked through it so we took an hour with the first level, but the levels are about 20 to 30 minutes on average.
Mhm.
There's a couple of longer ones, so it's a really good sort of.
And because of the chronometer feature, you can kind of curate if you have the time and you want to, like, oh, I want to go back and see a few different options, you can do that. If you want to plow through, knowing that you can then go back and try again later, you can do that too. So.
Yeah, I mean, I love the different options that the chronometer gives you. If you are the type of player that's gunning for, medals for 4 stars on every interaction, the chronometer can definitely help on that. If you are doing everything in your power to make sure that the sprawl burns to the ground, then the chronometer 3000 can also help with that too. So I do love the options that it gives you because, especially in this game, because of the comedic nature of it, you may be trying to do something explicitly antagonistic to a character that may weirdly wind up helping your case.
Well,
I love.
I liked it better when
all
it was
the bad
Dodger in the
choirs.
club,
Like there's
but
something
I guess
funny
it
or
was
something
too hard
neat
to keep
there.
training
So
that chicken.
Yeah, specifically, there's a very musically inclined character on the second day that I think that applies to.
I hope we see her. That is voiced by my wife
I should
Tringa.
find my dad.
Yes.
Very
Now
nice.
I'm in my clothes
Very
and I'm
nice.
ready to go.
I wanna sort of respond to a comment. I'm all about the cozy vibes in general. For I don't know how to say that username. Maybe
Foolish
maybe.
Fuji, our friend
Foolish
Fulia,
Fuji.
one of our patrons.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. It's funny. I feel like we got to know the cozy game scene through making this game.
I think I should find my dad.
And we've been embraced by cozy gamers, and I think we are a cozy game. But for some people, we're really not. For some people that I think need their cozy game to just be farming sims.
Maybe he
The
wants
fact
me to
that
work a
like
shift
Lil
for
can
him
die,
again.
the
Or
fact
maybe
that
he
Yeah,
goes
there
somewhere
are
else
fail
where it needs
states.
me to
yeah,
bring him
the
a pair.
fact that the story goes somewhere,
Well, there's
gets a little
50-50 chance
political
I'll
and
get to
goes
use the
to you go to
chronometer
war and gets kind of
3000
dark.
today.
There's
Here's
a great
hoping.
reviewer from one of the big cozy streamers who's like, I love this game for 60%, and then it gets too intense for me, and I don't like it anymore. But you should still buy this game. So it's been
That was a big thing we had. Like,
Yeah.
is this a cozy game? We couldn't, because tonally it's
And
light,
finally, the
but
aforementioned
it
grading
does get
pending
to a
review
point
will
where
be
as you
transferable to
continue
a more
through,
viable
the
calculation.
stakes get higher. It's
Yeah.
never
Which
never
is,
like
needless to
reaction
say, a
based.
more
You don't have to
economical
do things
contrivance for
quickly.
evaluation. Any
But
questions?
tonally there is some unpleasantness. So it was a matter like
well, we wanted
Many
to tell an epic
questions.
dramatic story,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think
It's an
one of-
adventure. You want escalation.
oh for
Hey,
sure.
Dad, I got your note.
sure.
What's going on?
Yeah.
And we also knew that like we were making a game that some people would love, lots of people will like, and it won't be
I
for
have
everybody
no
because
idea.
that's the good thing about games.
Due to the bank of the sprawl.
Well,
I think,
our
um,
cozy game
Ground
expert
as a
says, I
result
like
of
it when there's a
your
twist in
actions.
cozy
Any
games.
guardsman who does not
Yeah.
receive
Well,
an
I'll say
above
too that
two-star
like even
rating
though,
at the
you
end of
know,
any
one
given
thing that I
shift
think is really
will
cool
lose their
about this game
job.
is that it isn't very demanding to the player at all. It's not as if there's a ton of like reactionary. You're not having to, you know, it's not Dark Souls. You're not learning like combat mechanics or anything. So
You don't
I
need
feel
any
like
split-second reactions.
right. I feel like
funny-
most people can wrap their heads around this.
Yeah.
in an earlier thought experiment design we
But
had,
I
we
need my
actually
job for
had
gambling.
included a sort of with the
I'll
tools
pretend I didn't
a,
just hear
a,
that.
a timing based element like to see how effective your tool would
You
be,
and I
like if
both
you like
know my
follow the
dad has
bounce
a
and ball,
tendency
click it
to
at a certain
half-ass
time.
his way
Yeah, it was
through
sort of like a
life. Tell me why he
WarioWare
needs to
esque
whole
mini
ass
games.
and all of
Oh,
a
sure.
sudden
Oh,
try
nice.
anything
Um,
above two
I think
stars.
that.
They were fun, but it slowed it down. Like
Well,
you're
I'm
using a
glad you
tool
asked.
to
I've been
discover something.
authorized to
So
award
putting
above
that
average
sort of
job
barrier
performance
between
with
the
cash
action
bonuses.
and reaction, it was fun, but
mean if we
and
get
also the
more
100th
four-star
time you played a
results,
mini
we'll
game,
make
it just
more
kind of
money?
sucked. So I think we made the right call.
You're as
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
as your father. Before I go, here are the allotted crystals to power your tools.
Just looking to the chat, we get a lot of
And with that,
Adventure
I'm
Time
off to all
shout-outs
the
for
other
the
gate
vibe
guards
of
about
the
the
Oh, sure.
rules.
of the art,
I'm
All
sure,
of them
yeah.
except Randy.
which I love.
He's been terminated.
There's another Randy shout out here.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, yeah, I knew he was about to mention
Not
Randy.
Randy.
Yeah.
That guy's a
He's
riot.
out. He's been terminated.
Not Randy.
I don't
No.
know.
His
That
poor
pastry's
judgment
been in
led
the
to.
guard shed all night. Is that still good?
I'm sure it's fine.
Throw
Little
that through
stale
the
pastry.
chronometer 3000.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
never hurt anybody. Little stale
Oh,
pastry.
jeez.
Not Randy. That
Randy
guy's
was
all
just
right.
Mike
payments away
Melroy
from paying off
basically
his new
instructing you
catapult.
that from this point on, now the star system is going to dictate like a pass,
Sounds like you
like
need to start
making
doing
sure
your
that
job
you
More
that you
like
do a
you
good
need to start
job
doing my job better.
to ensure that
Just like you wanted to.
that you continue onward.
No,
And I
that's
feel
not
like you have
exactly
to
what
kind
I
of
meant.
troll the game. Like
don't
you
just
you
get
have
to
to
leave me
work
here
pretty
when you
hard
go bet
to
on Goblin
get
Ball
below the
games.
game over threshold. But if
Right.
you play so badly, you will hit a
No
game
Goblin
over and
Ball
they'll
match
they'll be
today.
exiled from
I
this.
received a cryptic letter this morning. saying
Specifically,
that you'd
this
be
I
on
may be
guard duty.
reading into
And
it a
I
little bit too
specifically
much,
referenced
but
that
with
you
the
need to
character
cover
that
for
we
me
were just
again.
talking to,
Looks
the
like you're
kind of
not the only one who
slimy
wants you to work the
little
gate today.
minion of
Again,
the
not
government.
what I meant.
Was it was it a
It's not all
specific
bad news. I
decision to
scored
give
these
that character
off-brand
kind of a
discount crystals
hunchback
from
to
my
give them
bookie friend
kind of
as
an
a gift for being
Igor-esque
his best
vibe?
client.
I mean, it may have been
But he
from the
mentioned that
artists,
they
and
might
they
only work
we
some
never
of the
talked
time.
about it. Like
But
like
I
once
like
once we
those
got
odds.
going, we sort of unleashed them, and they just sort of did what they did. Dilbert, like his
Yeah.
his full
Yeah.
name, which I don't
You
think is
really
ever
need to talk
revealed
to
in the
somebody
game,
about
is
your gambling.
middle manager Mike Melroy.
Yeah, we wanted like the embodiment of
I
just
love you
milk
too, Will.
toast, like
And with
Yeah.
that, I'm
boring as could
Remember,
be,
2 stars or
officious,
better,
like
or we're out on our asses.
pencil pusher. Like
No
you could fall
pressure.
asleep listening to him.
Yeah. So I'll just have that as
That's
my
my
head
girl.
canon. Just if Igor was in the office.
Or like sort of Gareth from the British Office.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, we've got our royal writ here for today. We have
Yes.
to expect the imminent arrival of 2 envoys vying for an alliance with the Sprawl. That's 2 envoys, not 1, not 3, but 2. 4 is right out. So get that, get them talking. Let's see. We have a few things to look at. Treat any non-human visitor with extra scrutiny. If you see something, say something. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
I will say, when it comes to those 2 envoys, I felt like there was an initial push to make one of them seem like a clear-cut, better choice, but as you learn more about them, not quite. I don't know. The female envoy just kind of immediately presented to me as like, oh, this is obviously the person that I need, but things turn out the way they do.
We wanted the idea was to write two basically these 2 envoys represent 2 different factions.
Yes.
From you, and we wanted them to be bad in different ways.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Marvog are it's all faux Klingon Mad Max kind of warrior, brutal murder is absolutely fine and smiled upon. And then the Petrardians, who were like French court, Louis the whoever, just foppish,
you're giving me a laugh.
and upper class twits.
Yeah.
Was kind of who had more gunpowder and technology was more their weapon of choice.
And we wanted to create 2 different bad options for different reasons. And I guess we were hoping that players would sort of pick one or the other. If they had a problem, there's blood on the hands of the Marvog, so they're murderers, so no. Or this guy's an asshole, so no. Right. But I think the canon basically for the game is that the bad people are the Petrardians because he's a jerk, and because the Marvog, the Empress, is a babe and that she's a badass, and she's not an asshole. I think that's sort of canon. That I think most people pick Marvog.
Are drawn to the Marvog. Yeah.
I was gonna say that was what I did, but learning more about them, I started to wonder, like, do I need to see a therapist for my choice? And because at the beginning I was like, oh yeah, Kapla all day, absolutely. And then I learned more about them. I was like, who am I?
Is this what I'm cheering for? Is this good? Yeah, we wanted both of them to eventually be bad options.
Yeah.
And that this is jumping ahead, but the princess has to choose sort of a political marriage with one of these 2 factions, and we should.
What?
The chat are terrible people, by the way.
Seamus McGoblin?
The chat said to do it, and we left it up to a roll, and the roll succeeded.
Yeah.
Man. Oh no. Poor Seamus McGoblin will never be able to work like this.
Not my boy Seamus.
If we goblins
Oh
continue to
no.
face this
If you
kind
leave
of
it in the
oppression,
hands of
there's
stream
no
chat,
telling
it's
what
always
may
going to
happen.
be.
I love the chaos run.
Yeah,
I love
that.
it. Oh, let it burn. Yeah, fantastic.
You're right, this isn't cozy after all.
And that's it. Like, yeah, you've whipped him. Like, he's not gonna put up with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just left.
Yeah.
What I love, so this is one of the smallest branching things is if you hadn't whipped him, you could have confiscated his paint and then picked a favorite color. And whichever you pick contributes to what color the dungeon is painted for the rest of the game.
That's
Oh,
the job.
wow.
Yes, he's come to paint the dungeon.
Yes.
And so if you let him in, he'll ask you to pick a color, whatever color you paint you pick. He'll paint the dungeon that color.
Because the average player isn't a psychopath, but the aggregate of our chat is one psychopath, which I think is great.
Yes, the average player is a good person. The average chat is terrible.
Oh, and now they're
so, I
blaming
mean,
me. Now they're gaslighting me. Why did I whip him?
Why would you do?
Yeah.
Why would you do it, Seth? Why do you hate goblins so much?
Daughter of King Salvatore.
Seth's about to be
son of
canceled
Queen
live on stream.
Farabelle,
Oh,
daughter
no.
of King Algernon.
We could have
son of
decorated
Queen
Seth.
So here's a fun little
Prisoners don't deserve colors.
stupid Easter egg here. So the names that this idiot's giving you, King Fangirl of Queen Amidala, Rupert, Talia, all of the names of these royals spell out farts. Over
Amazing.
King Fangirl,
Amazing.
son of Queen
This-
Amelia, daughter of
this is the
King
kind of
Rupert,
grown-up adult
son of
humor where
Queen
really-
Talia, daughter of
It's
King
HBO
Salvatore,
it's HBO
son of
over here.
Queen
Yeah.
Farabelle, daughter of King
I
Algernon.
love it.
Because,
Thank you.
they
Wow,
make
okay,
sulfur.
I think I
There's
got
like
it.
a soft theme of these guys smell bad.
Yeah, we already want to whip. We spent our whip. We spent the whip
Yeah.
already, Lachlan. We could rewind.
Yes, that's true.
Maybe it's a good opportunity.
Let's go forward. Let's see more.
Yeah.
More of the game.
Yeah, fair. Okay, so let's talk. These are the envoys.
Himself would arrive in the sprawl
You know what?
after a ceremonial
I
visit to the
honestly don't
royal
think I
sulfur
even know
mines
this.
of
What did
Petrarch.
what age rating
The
did you
prince will
wind
be
up
christening
getting?
the newest of our sulfuric
I
refineries by
think we're
smashing a bottle
teen
of
in North
petroleum
America,
fizzy
and I
over the
think
front
we're
door.
16 and up.
Peggy 16. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's like
guess you weren't
references to
important
blood
enough
and
to go to the
violence,
big
even though
bar.
it's
Drugs, there.
And gambling, you
Yeah,
heathens.
there's gambling, yeah.
Travel all
There's
the way
fun
here
things
to announce his
happen.
And
eventual
I really
Get it.
think a Matt Groening cartoon is
bought
sort of
that?
what we're anchored to. Like
Yeah.
it's not South Park,
I
not even
did
Family
know
Guy,
just
but
this moment.
Futurama I think is about where we're at.
Yeah, our language is very. We're very like, and in all of our comedy, like we're not blue. Like we'll give you the suggestion of it, like our Cyclops, her swearing tirade that gets bleeped out doesn't really make a whole lot of sense if you really break it down. But some of the like some of the drugs and alcohol things like that we do embrace. fully.
Well, very often, you know, targeted censorship can be even funnier than the swear words themselves.
Can I see
Yes.
that trumpet?
The audience will
Whatever
think up much
that you've
funnier
got there?
things
Yeah.
if you let them.
That is
so
my official
Can you
Petrardian
take this
greeting
bugle?
bugle. It is my
Oh yeah,
pride
we're
and
gonna
joy,
confiscate the
and
bugle.
worth quite a
Ash has a headache.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
I think for the sanity,
pride and joy.
I mean
Take it.
safety
Take it
of
away
our
from him.
citizens, I better take.
He deserves it.
If you must, but please be
It's
very
funny,
careful with my pride and joy.
Again, there's someone on the internet who's annoyed about everything in the world, so I shouldn't feel special. There's someone who was really bothered that some swear words are beeped and get the characters, and
Oh,
some
sure.
swear words we don't. And I'd say if it's ever probably the F word or if it's ever probably the B word, we're gonna bleep it.
To announce
But
the
it's
eventual
basically like,
arrival
what's
of
funnier?
Prince
Is it
Phineas
funnier to
Pomp,
hear Lil
heir
say
to the
"oh
throne
shit,"
of Petrarch
or is it
and
funnier
future
to hear her
husband
say
to
"oh bleep"?
Princess
Right.
So
Desdemona.
sometimes you hear swear words. Make
I
it
believe
through
there
the
is a
censors.
representative of the Marvog Empire behind me, seeking to make
I
a
could see you guys
similar
writing in
offer,
something
but
like Lil
if you
gets
refuse
bleeped just
her
because she's
entry,
12.
I will give you much
Yes,
gold
yes.
tonight.
Yeah.
And
Now he's
remember,
trying to
the
tempt
tavern
me.
after your shift.
He'll bribe me
Remember,
with
do
gold
not let
if I deny the
Much
rival.
gold.
Much gold.
Well, we certainly know what Hamish would choose.
Yes.
Actually, I don't know. Like, Hamish has, you know, his flaws, but one of the things I like about the character, and I think one of the reasons that you like him so much, Seth, is because he is such a ultimately like an imperfect but still very lovable character. So I don't know. I don't know if Hamish would actually take the bribe in order to, oh yes, the hat guy,
Yeah.
to bet on more Goblin Ball games.
Yeah, I don't think. I think
But they
Lil
do not
probably
match the
is more
standards
capable
of
of
my
malice
previous
than Hamish.
I was known well.
I can see that.
one who
Right.
had the
Yeah,
highest
Hamish should
caliber.
just fuck it up.
I cannot
He's-
go back.
somehow.
You
So
seem
this
like the
is
type of
this
guy that
is
would wear a
Signor
fancy
Capello
hat.
Fantastico.
Mr. Fantastic Hat in English.
Yes, he is an Italian man.
Not just fancy.
And he's the fever
fantastic.
dream of our writer Matt, who really wanted this character in the game that is on the quest for a perfect
This old
hat,
hat
and
of
he
yours
pops
must have
up
been
through the
something
whole game, and
special.
every time
Yep.
you see him,
Oh, it was.
it's the
He was
same
the most
dialogue file
fantastic
every
hat
time.
you
He's
have
got a
ever
different
seen.
hat. And
That
what's
is how
what's
I
the line,
acquired my
Jared? Do you
name.
remember?
This hat
Signor
is
Capello
not as
Fantastico.
fantastic as my previous
What does
hat.
that mean?
My search continues.
Yes.
But of course, if you don't let him in at this point. This is a divergence. Like you won't you won't see him again. Like this is your if you send him away, then he's just gone.
People.
But if you let him in, you get this fantastic array of dumb hats.
Everybody watching, I need everybody watching to see my example here. Anybody within earshot of my voice, do not deny him let him in. You have to see the hats.
Oh, talk to him. Oh, yeah. Oh, never mind.
Oh, too late.
Let
Sorry.
him in.
But,
Eventually, he'll let you know if you talk to him or if you truth spray him. I think you'll get to find out the truth of it is it's not that the hat was gone. He threw it away.
He flew too close.
Yeah, it was too much for him, and now he's left with this hole in his heart. Literally, if you X-ray him, there's literally a hat-shaped hole in his heart.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's awesome. I did truth spray him, and he's like, "Yes, the hat was too good for me."
It was too much. I had a hat, and it was too much. And this is the kind of content that you can find by rewinding and seeing all of this ridiculousness that is in there.
So
I kept wondering. I kept looking at the hats of people if they were coming up and trying to see if there was an option. I was like, "Hey, can I borrow that thing you have on your head?"
Maybe this
Grant
is
me
his
access
hat.
to deliver this message personally, and I shall recite
so
the
this
praetor's
is
words
the
to
first.
princess
This is
with
the
honor.
other envoy,
Hail, Praetor
who is from
Gargan.
Marvog. Who,
Kapla.
like Jer said, is sort
Kapla.
of
Yeah, Klingon Mad Max
Yes.
kind of hybrid.
Yeah, like Road Warriors WWE.
Yes.
100%. And the first version that the artists created was just
Sorry,
sort of epic
what exactly was the
Amazonians.
message you
And
had
again,
for
we
Princess
said, okay,
Desdemona
that's
again?
right, but we need 30% of something
Praetor
else. So it's sort of
Gargan crafted the
football,
message
hockey
personally.
shit.
Oh,
A
this
warrior
is
Yeah.
so perfect
Hail,
that
Praetor
we
Gargan.
mentioned Christopher Guest earlier. I just realized.
The messages.
Well, what you're decoding right now is what the Praetor, the leader of the Marvog, the message that they've sent, translates to a broken English version of. Well, it'll show you. I don't want to.
Don't
It is
spoil it.
marriage which will bring
I love that
us
the character also
from
has like a
Princess
"There's
Isabel
something about
of
Mary" hair flip.
cooperation.
So good.
This marriage is what will bring us together. Marriage will bring us together.
What?
My voice doesn't sound like that.
That's what we're going
Mage
for. Is that
technology.
particular
Classic.
quote.
Yeah.
You speak our language very well. Could you teach me
So
something
there's
in
also some plot
Marvogian?
threads sort of being woven in.
It's
There's
just
characters that
Not
are
in,
distrustful of
right
the
for ease or anything like
mages.
that.
There's the sort of the
What would you like to learn?
anti sort of non-human goblin sentiment. So we start threading that in, and those are sort of major plot beats
Ha-ha!
that sort of come out
There are
as the
many
levels
words
progress.
for
Well,
this.
yeah.
But typically
I
we
you
don't
know
use the phrase
I roleplay as Lil. I want to know what she would actually want to know the phrase for. You know.
Cool.
When it came to like these subplots, you're talking about the Goblin liberation stuff and the envoys, the two suitors, and everything like that. Just with all the writing going on that we've already talked about ad nauseum. How were there any other subplots? Were there any other
I literally
ideas
have not said a
that didn't quite make it in, or any other subplots that unfortunately did have to be scaled back? Maybe.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the? So our game is in 12 levels, and there's a part 1 and part 2. Tell them about part 3.
Originally, we had written it in 3 parts, where the third part is you do all of this time travel sequence, and basically we had written down basically
honor,
multiverse
little
of
one,
madness
and shall
question mark,
always
where
defend the
all of these
And now, to
like there's a
fulfill my
version
mission
where
to
a
speak the
Lil from the
Praetor's words
future
to the
comes to
princess.
you and gives you the
Kapla!
"come with me if you want to live," and then you have to go through the game prior and correct things that you've done to then rectify it. But as we were getting up to that point, we were coming up to deadlines. We were coming up to when we wanted to
Whoa
have
there,
the
Lucy.
primary story
Hello and
at
salutations
least
to
mapped
you,
and plotted
most
by.
honorable guardian
And we
of the free
realized
peoples of
that
the sprawl.
this
I
opening
am
this
the
can of
envoy the
worms
gallant
now
Sir Beverly,
would
a
result
knight of
in
some
we're going to have to
minor
rush
renown,
through
which is also
everything,
me.
and
I
we
have
thought this
received
is
a very
rather than
special
explode into
invitation
that,
from Her
if you
Majesty,
if you
Princess
stop it
Desdemona.
at that
She turns her
juncture,
royal eye
then
to
that would be a
finding
very
a
satisfying.
secret.
Like you
Yeah.
you solved it from going into that,
Yeah.
rather
If
than we're
there's
going to
nothing
go
else,
into that
I will be
and
off
then
to my
solve it
happily
there.
ever after.
So there was a potential third act of time loopy chaos that we ultimately decided would
Bridge too
would be
far.
too much. It'd be a lot of just a lot of nonsense that would not really result in story being told. It would just be kind of nonsense.
Yeah, and as so I
don't know
was
how
one
to
of the
say this,
co-directors.
but
Are
that
you
horse is
LGU,
too
the little
cool in a
Guardsman
costume.
universe?
Ah,
That
turns
is
out I do
fantastic.
know
Yes,
how
the
to say
That's-
LGU.
That's the dream. Yeah,
Yeah.
the LGU is really what we're going.
Yeah,
Um,
you need a
the-
third act with an Avengers Assemble moment where
told you
all
this
the characters from the
wouldn't
scroll
work? Well, it
team
would
up to
be-
fight
it would-
literal Satan.
It would be Lils from different time and different timelines. The
Have you ever
Lils would
met
come
Princess
together
Desdemona?
to fight off whatever, and that's the idea. Like that. This is like if the game goes well and we want like DLC or a part 2 or something like that, there is that that we can pull from and start something based on that. But we decided for the game proper, we didn't know where it would end up, and opening that door felt.
Well,
stupid.
we would have also just from a
TMI,
producer
dude.
standpoint,
I
we
don't
would
wanna
have blown
hear
our
about your
timelines. We would have, it wasn't
God,
the juice
keep it in
wasn't
your
worth the
tunic.
squeeze. And I will say that every time we had to make a tough choice in the production process and kill our darlings. That's the expression. Cutting something that you love. It forced us to come up with something better.
Let me get this straight.
So
You
I think
and the
this was one of
princess
those. I
both had to
like
be
the ending of our game
in
now
a glam.
better than I
She
think that would have
suggested
been.
that you storm the castle and ruin her
Jeremy,
wedding?
who is a theater actor,
Yes,
and I've worked in
you've
theater as a
articulated it
composer.
so
And have you ever
beautifully.
been
That's
in
exactly
a panto
what
horse?
happened.
I have. I've been the back
Is
end of
it
a panto
though,
horse.
Beverly?
We danced the William
Is
Tell
it?
overture. Diddlin, diddlin, diddlin,
Oh
diddlin,
my
diddlin.
gosh.
It's the sweatiest thing I've ever done in my life.
So is this triggering to you? Is looking at this trigger you?
This is why we put it in. Matt and I we love shit like this. Like on stage doing this
I
kind of
understand.
nonsense
You are
is
being
really
controlled by powerful
being able to
forces
translate
and
that
simply
from
following orders. Know this.
like bad
There is
theater
no
to
This is your
to
actor
video game.
vindication, your
Yeah.
catharsis.
Can I?
So sorry, just quickly, Lachlan, if you use, so he's claiming to be a knight. If you use the metal detector on him, he reveals that his armor is in fact plastic, and that is a paper mache lance.
Yeah, there is the metal detector does not go off.
I was gonna ask about his shield, the sort of like dolphin rainbow star cloud
This
shield.
crest, this was our
Yeah.
Not
animators
seen
as
the
well.
last
They
of
came
that.
up with like, what's a good
Late
crest
night
for
custodian
this
of the
for this
Dublin
dope,
Ball
sweet
Yeah,
Beverly?
like the soft boy for sure.
What's a great crest? Have you guys seen Rainbow Bright?
Shut up, Beverly.
Shut up, Beverly.
Yeah.
And it's funny, the voice of Beverly. There's lots of sort of wimpy dorks in our game, maybe because we're wimpy dorks. But we sort of imagine Beverly's voice first as
Hey,
the
kid,
the
are
teenage
you Lil?
character from The Simpsons. I dropped it in the. Can you do that?
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Oh,
Got a
fuck,
mysterious
yeah.
letter here
Well,
for ya?
that's
Oh,
more
the Ralphie.
Shaggy a little bit.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
but
I'm
it
in
was,
danger.
yeah, but it was way funnier
Who's it
to
from?
give him a heroic voice. So
Mhm.
that's
I'm
why
not
we went with
authorized
that
to
choice.
know.
That
And here's
is
another action. This
mysterious.
is like another
Does this
proper
mysterious
guard.
letter
Like
have
this
anything
is
to do
what
with the
Hamish
one
would
my
be
dad
if he was any
Hamish
good at
got
his
this
job. This is
morning?
Cecil here.
And you
You
can
can tell
Hamish?
because of the strong
What a
chin.
good guy. Did you hear about
You can tell he's
Wendy,
good at
though?
his job because of the strong chin. Doesn't need a beard. He's
Only
doing
3
just fine.
payments
He's not hiding
away on that
anything.
catapult.
Yeah.
Nothing to hide.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a real
you can
shame.
you can role play
Anyways,
Lil
just
to
take the note. I
torment
gotta
him
get back
through the
to
game.
work.
You can really be awful to him, which towards the end it's sort of revealed that he's been looking out for you, sort of from behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So that can either make you feel
See you
awful
around,
or
kid.
make you feel fine if you weren't an asshole to him.
Yeah.
This game very much a litmus test for your personality. So
Oh yeah. The government is using it to recruit CIA members. It turns out,
Yeah, it's
unbeknownst to
getting
us.
the last Starship
that's the
Troopers.
game that I would play.
Yeah, people who work at customs are like, this game will get you there.
Lil, take one of those legally distinct swords from behind you. Let's go on a quest.
Nothing weird or creepy
Or it's
about
the equivalent
that.
of what's the test in Blade Runner? The Void Conf test or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
Where's that
Yeah, I think
music
so, something like
coming
that.
from?
It's
What
determining
is
if you're a
happening?
replicant. Or
Now here we go, you guys. Here we go. Here,
It just
enjoy
dust
this.
on her face immediately.
that's my wife singing. That's Stringa.
So good.
So like we were just talking about, my career before I moved into gaming was as a conductor and musical director of musicals, and that's how Jeremy and I and Matt met, was doing shows together.
It's Lil.
And
you
yeah,
need
this
a
is just
good
my love
reason
song
be
to
let in, but
every
so
Disney
far,
princess,
I'm
and
not
making her a
optimistic.
Yeah, this is the Disney princess knockoff.
Chat going nuts. I was like, what is this character?
Do you have any
What are
idea?
those stains, ma'am? What indeed?
Yeah.
And it's funny that there's the characters who it's like we're trying to make you figure out if they're good or bad, and the ones where we're just like, fuck it, like
Yeah.
we're just
I just love that blank death stare that she's just like,
Yeah.
The unblinking. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
Fun fact: my Artem, my co-creator, hates musical theater, hates musicals, hates my career, hates all of us by extension. So Lil being like, "I hate this," is just Artem.
That's
Yeah.
the reaction of someone who's like, yeah. What her line there is, I feel like if you weren't singing, this would be going a lot faster.
this would all move a lot
Truth
faster.
serum. Yes.
There's the truth.
Also, I've got a rap sheet as long as my arm, and I'm wanted in 7 counties. So there's that.
Into the Woods. If you're working on Into the Woods,
Strange. I seem to have
oh, which
blacked out
I
for a
think it's
moment.
Prince
No
Phineas.
matter.
I lift is it Moments in the Woods? He's a very nice prince. No, it's
Handsome for a prince, I guess.
Yeah, is he hands? He's charming. He's got charm for a prince, I guess. Well, I don't need a wide range. I lift that section for a conversation with Ash. There is Sondheim in this game, so I'm so glad that you're working on In the Woods right now.
What are you doing in Into the Woods?
I've been Rapunzel's prince
that's
before.
No,
just
I mean,
I know, not me,
Fuji.
but
Yeah.
I'm saying what I've done, Scott. I'm talking about me again.
What,
I thought you were going to say you had been Rapunzel before. I was like, wow, you do have range.
You have a lot of range as an actor. Yeah.
Is that why you had to shave your beard?
For Rapunzel. It was too long.
We
You had
found
to
the
tie it to the
blowtorch.
back of your head.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
so
I actually never got to the blowtorch. I never saw it. I just like, get out of here.
and the blowtorch it's a one-off. It's so easy to miss, but it's a puzzle solution in level 10 if you happen to have it. So it's again all these weird threads through our game.
Okay,
That's some
I've
long-term
had about
booking.
Enough of you.
Again, what we set out to do early in the early chapters as we were writing was let's just start throwing seeds out, and then as the game went on, it's like, oh, remember that thing that we threw out a while ago? Let's see if we can find a way to tie that back in.
I just love the way she talks. So good.
She was going to use that for creme brulee.
I have to say, I'm losing patience, Lil. At first, you seemed so innocent, but still, I have a hunger driving.
And I wouldn't suggest doing it just for time and seeing more of the game. But if you call any of the advisors, it's instant death. Like that triggers her to kill you.
Oh my
and
god.
I think for a lot of there might be a death. No, the Marvog envoy can kill you.
Yeah,
if you try to
take their weapon.
Yeah.
They'll kill you.
But I think for a lot of players and a lot of streamers, they're like, "Oh shit, you can die! You can die in this game."
Yeah.
We in the writing room we kind of called them they're comedy game overs. You get reset, but it's more the shock that it happens and when it happens, and then we'll replant you right when you want to like, go back. And that's not fun. It was all about like how will this be fun?
Yeah. There are lots of wonderful Souls likes out there. If you want to be punished by your game, this is not that game.
Fulia, you wanted me to let her in?
Fulia just wants to watch the world burn, apparently.
Yep.
Literally,
Yep.
apparently.
I will watch that stream for sure.
Fulia, what are you working on in Into the Woods?
Yeah, what are you playing?
Yeah, what part?
All right. So we've done day 2. And I really just wanted to make sure that we saw that character. That
Yeah,
was
me too. the true goal of this stream was to get to Murder Bell, the clearly cut character from Dead by Daylight.
I just would like to take this opportunity to thank all theater technicians and all backstage people. Yeah, that's awesome.
Doing mics for Into the Woods. There's a ton of people in that show. That's a lot of mixing. That's a lot of work.
So with the exception of the way we treated Seamus McGoblin, we did pretty good.
Oh man, that really stands out as like, wow.
Yeah, that was the one flub.
It was Chet that told him to do it. That's the whole reason.
Still can't believe I did it. Still can't believe I did it.
However, like in the writ, this is like if you like treat non-humans with disdain, and so somebody's got to like it.
Yeah. So many.
Like in Telltale Games, it's like Stryker will remember this action.
Yeah.
Clementine hates you for that.
Exactly.
I mean, you guys have your version of that. Like your actions have impacted the scrawl or whatever.
Yeah, we do let you know when something you've done is like opened a branch or something.
Yeah, that happens a lot in this game, and there's always I love that happens because there's always just a little twinge of, oh no, what did I do?
Because it doesn't tell you what you've done; it tells you you've done something.
Could have been painted.
Because you didn't get a professional painter, you get the chaos version of the dungeon for the rest of the game,
which is a little bit of all three
It
colors.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, enter if you dare.
Some great voice acting going on with these characters in here. What's going on in here? I love the hang in there poster.
Hello. Welcome to my lair of chaos.
There was a version where
like
this
a
scene
bedroom.
was in the first day, so you'd get the chronometer,
his
Dr.
damn
B,
bedroom.
and the advisors. I think that was an early build, and we're like, oh no, it's just too much stuff.
It can be two
Too
things.
much information for
I'm a
one.
minimalist.
So this is
Yeah,
the
it's
little
just
goblin
for
we've
anyone
been
who joined
talking
late.
about.
Jeremy, who's
You are,
here with
right?
me right now, does the voice of Malcolm, which is awesome, and Gwyn and Brianna are the actors who
can't
do
imagine
Ash and
why I
Stryker,
wouldn't.
and they are a comedy duo, and they are comedy writers, so they have such a good chemistry because they work together.
Can I ask, did you
That's not good news.
model
Why me?
Malcolm
I
off
hardly have
of
a
a
grasp of what I'm
certain
doing, and
other
I'm barely tall enough
over-the-top
to see over the desk.
cartoon jester?
It was kind of Joker meets Krusty the Clown. And
Okay.
it was
Sure.
I can see that.
Yeah, like the chaos, like the let it burn
Together
of,
now.
Yep.
the
Listen,
Joker.
little girl, we have eyes and ears all
And
over the city.
sort of the world,
The
where,
gates
like
have always been
the
a blind
everyone
spot.
around me is idiots. A little bit of Krusty
The point
Clown
is,
in it
the
as
safety
well.
and security of the
So
sprawl must
I
be
will say,
preserved and protected.
for
And
any
you might be
adventure
positioned to
game
help
nerd, and
maintain
I
the
haven't
balance.
replayed them since
Do
I
you
was
understand
a
our
child, since I was probably like 11 or 12. There's a classic series by the publisher Westwood called the Corandia series, and the third one is
think of
Malcolm's
us as the
Revenge.
real
And the
change
antagonist
makers
of
here in
those
the
games
sprawl.
is a jester named
Sure,
Malcolm,
as
who
the
looks a little
Wow.
bit like this jester.
Is that where
Deep cut.
Deep cuts.
That's where just the name, and like Jeremy, because he plays Malcolm, I feel
Careful.
like you did the majority of the writing for Malcolm.
At
because
any
it was sort of
rate,
in your
This,
Councilman
yeah, this was when I
head
knew
politician and
very
policymaker
early
for
on,
the
like
Yeah.
from the first prototypes, I knew I was voicing Malcolm.
Lieutenant Stryker.
It's
heading
okay to
military
say
law
that though,
enforcement.
because they're probably not going to sue you.
And
I'm sure they'd be fine. And it's literally just the name, and we do that. We'd like,
A jester
I'd know something, but I wouldn't share it with
I think they got
Matt
that
or
from
Jeremy
the
because I
hat.
didn't want them to incorporate it. Like that was a fun thing for me, but I didn't want to influence them. So like there was moments where we came together and collaborated, but there was also
I'm
moments where
Malcolm.
it was kind of fun to see
So
what
would be
weird
wise for you
directions
to do as we
we'd
say?
go in without talking to each other.
Yeah,
you know?
a lot of the
What if I refuse?
Kerns
You
at
can't
the
make
guard
me do
shed
anything
were
I don't want to do.
all right.
I'm
You
12
like we'd
years
come up
old.
with what the character would basically be,
Damn it.
and
You've
then
got us
each
there.
of us would go
How
off,
about
do
we leave
that,
it up
and
to
then it'd be
chance?
show and tell day
Guess
where
which
we'd
hand
come
is
in
holding
with
the colored
here's
ball, and we'll forget
here's
about the whole
this
thing.
turn.
But if you guess it correctly, you agree to do
Lachlan,
our
I
bidding, no
never
matter how
noticed that. Yeah,
nefarious
Malcolm
or
is sitting on
unreasonable.
spikes.
Sound like a deal?
Do
It
I
hurts
even
so
have
good,
a
for
choice?
sure. He's that kind of guy, for sure.
He's
Oh,
yeah, he strikes
yes.
me as that type
You
of guy.
choose which hand.
Yeah,
I assume sleeps in that sort of Iron Maiden
Yeah.
situation.
probably.
That's his
Not the
bed.
wisest one.
Maybe the rack that's in the corner, behind the councilwoman.
there's just seeing the skull behind Ash, who I think that's an homage to Murray from the Monkey Island series, who's a disembodied skull.
Yeah. There's another one in the Twisted Sister bar.
Oh yeah, there's skulls everywhere. So there's an amazing like fan theory video, like a conspiracy, like people went deep about stuff, and it's fun because I'd say maybe 40% of that video they catch on to things that we were talking about and thinking about, and then 60% is just like cool. I don't know, that video was a trip.
Yeah, there was a lot of hay being made of like the skulls, like where the skulls are placed and who has skulls ties into something, and yeah, just a lot of conspiracy theory stuff, like which is wild. It's wild to me that people would look at this and then create their own, like the unseen things that are in it. That we built something that people have a headcanon about is really
suggest
cool.
you go back home, rest.
I just want to congratulate you on the line. What is the foot if not the hand of the leg?
Is that yours, Jer?
That's Matt.
That's Matt. That's
it's a good line.
Matt probably stole that from Aristotle or Confucius, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, it's very,
some sort of
philosophical.
Traditional wisdom. Yeah.
I think it was in the Art of War.
As someone who doesn't speak simplified Chinese or German or Spanish, I want a line like that. I wonder how bizarre that must be translated to a different language.
Yeah, like translating comedy, I've got to imagine, is much more difficult than just translating more straightforward dialogue.
I should have.
Have you heard any feedback in that regard?
Well, it's very convenient. Our programmer, Italo, kind of our head programmer, is Colombian, and he speaks Spanish. So he came to us quite early on as we were pitching. We would have at the end of each week, we would get together and have someone other than the writers play as the player and play through the level so they could hear some of the characters, some of the voices. And Italo told us, for language purposes, no wordplay and no puns. Just things that just don't translate. Like, this is not an expression that makes any sense in our language. Like, there's no equivalent for some of these things. So we tried to be conscious of puns in particular early on.
I think there's evidence that the humor works well in Spanish because there are Spanish streams that have like millions of views, which is cool, and people are laughing, or the streamers are laughing. I have no idea for German and Chinese if the humor works, but I think the fact that the voices aren't dubbed, so you hear the inflection in English, hopefully that supports. Like, oh, this is a joke.
Better
I
than
should
a
laugh.
2-star rating, I can
But
tell
who
you
knows?
that. How was?
This character sounds like they're trying to be funny. I should probably react.
Bidding of the 3 royal advisors.
Yeah, I guess it probably does at least get you there. You know,
Yeah.
even if you don't speak the language, it just kind of bridges that gap. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, we all have like some of the massive JRPGs that have become huge in North America.
Yeah.
There's something lost in translation, but your brain corrects for it, or you sort of, I don't know.
There's some famously weird translations in Final Fantasy VII and stuff like that. So all your base are belong to us and all that.
It continues.
This is the first instance of Signor Capello Fantastico in
Very
a marching band hat, I guess.
Very
He's
good
the best.
This pained, haunted look.
Yeah, just the way he's like just staring into distance.
He looks
cool.
like he's really depressed that he didn't get the lead in the music, man.
This is probably a decent place to wrap up. What do you guys think?
I would invite you to go talk to the envoy.
Okay.
Because
who had offered you a bribe earlier.
Yes, and then I think that's a great wind up point.
Good call.
That'll be basically the end of the day.
Yeah. Can you go into the alley yet?
Yeah, that's where Garby's set up his shop.
We can check in on Garby real quick if we want. Yeah.
You can see what the shop looks like. How the
refused entry to the envoy from the Marvog Empire, like we talked about. If you did, I have the gold I promised you right here.
Yeah. If you did, I could just lie to him. You know.
There's murder behind those eyes. Where's my horn?
I totally kept them out.
Kick their
Totally
ass back
did.
to Marvog.
Incredible bravery in the face of a brutal murderer.
Oh, you know, all in a day's work. What
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
gold are we talking
there's
about
moral
here?
ambiguity in this game, which I like.
I have
Yeah.
here 20 pieces
Yeah,
of gold.
it's not going to
Fair
force
is
you to
fair.
tell the
Take
truth
them.
or be nice or
They are yours,
do
and with
too
many
much of
thanks
anything.
from Prince
You
Phineas
there you
Pomp,
go.
heir to the throne.
And
I
it's
will
like-
say, even though it's digital entertainment, I do have this
Son of
this
King
thing
Phineas
where
and Queen
even though they're
Buttermilk, who was
NPCs and they're
daughter
not
of
real
King-
people, I was like, I don't want to disappoint them.
Just the
So I do
gold,
tend
thank
to,
you.
go on the more
Yeah.
supportive side
Yes.
of
Yeah.
more overtly altruistic characters.
That's very much Artem, our other.
Our co-creator.
He's Mr. Nice Guy.
He's gonna pick the beigest paladin in Baldur's Gate 3 for sure.
Yeah. But wait, can I help this person? Are they okay? Are these NPCs going to be all right? I want to hear more about Seamus and his family. How will he make a living? Oh, fuck off, Artem.
He's depressed at work. What happened? My friend passed away. Oh my god. It's like, yeah, I failed this side quest.
So, like,
I was
this is
actually
a
inspired by
place
watching
that's
you
like lousy with
alternately
Easter
helping
eggs, and I
hinder
love it.
folks at the
There's
gate yesterday.
like the Ocarina of Time right
Yes.
there.
Totally.
Things you can buy from the Emporium of Wonder.
Yeah,
And when I looked around, there
he's
wasn't.
such a great character.
He stole Beverly's
So I
shield.
met a mage who's
Yeah,
got a
Beverly
magic
Shields
crystal
there, yeah.
hookup. And
Yeah,
now
got a
I'm
bugle
selling
there. You got
Guardsman
some,
gold power-ups.
got all kinds of stuff going on. The pastry
If you've
back
got the
there.
cash, I can
Sure there's a
sell you
beard
extra
wig somewhere
power
there.
crystals.
Yeah, I got like kind of a like the goblin form of a trolley doll back there on the top
As well as
shelf.
power-ups for all of your tools.
One of the most touching things that the art team did for us is
It's pricey,
you can't
but the more
see the other
crystals
side
you
of this
can load
alley
into those bad
until much
boys,
later, and you
the
only get to
better.
visit it once or twice in the game.
Yeah.
Finally,
But
if
I
you
told
need cash,
the
you
directive
can
from us
sell
is, oh, we
me
want like
anything you might
wanted
have
posters
taken
up
off
in
of
the alley.
unsuspecting
And what they
suckers.
did was
Here,
they
take a look.
created cartoon versions of everyone on the team.
Yep.
And put them on the wanted posters, and that like
The Hilltop Gang.
yeah, the Hilltop Gang, and we didn't notice for a long time, and it was such a fun discovery when we saw it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's your shop options to upgrade your tools. You can get more slots to be able to use your tools multiple times.
Yep.
Per guard shift or.
I do
buy more
love
crystals.
that I can sell his license back to him. It's pretty good.
Without comment from him.
Just sure, he just takes it. Why not? But like you said, like yeah, I mean, if we hang on to some of this stuff, you never know, it might come up later. Yeah. You never know. You can buy more slots. I don't know if I stopped and talked about that too much, but something that's pretty important is like the uses that you have of your items is limited both by the crystal resources that you have to power them and the amount of crystals that each one has. So you can spend your money to upgrade the amount of crystals you can slot in per day. So that way I could use my truth spray twice or 3 times a day or whatever. So
Yeah, and at the beginning of each shift, you're given, I think it's 3. You're given a certain number of power crystals for the shift, but you can buy more here and use them to.
It's a pretty gentle strategy component. Like you're never gated by it. Like you can always continue.
And because of the option to rewind, you can reassign your crystals. If you like, I really wanted to use this tool on this person, you can contrive to rewind and set it up to be able to do that.
Fulia, if you're still here in the stream, don't leave. If you can spend a few minutes, don't leave just yet.
We could do that actually real quick if you want. We can go ahead and do that real fast.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So we have, in addition to the Twitter giveaway that we've done, these fine folks have generously offered to give away additional copies of the game. You guys were saying, how many copies were we giving away here?
I think 3 more is
Okay.
we have permission to deploy.
Okay, cool. So how do we want to do this? Do y'all want to do this in a sort of like, do we want to just, I have Nightbot pulled up here. I could just have Nightbot just do a giveaway from somebody in chat if we want to, or, we could have some fun with it. We could, get them to answer a question or something. What do y'all think?
I don't. We're at your disposal. Whatever devious tormenting you want to employ.
What do you
we're
think, Eric?
supportive of.
You know what? We've been talking over this stream for so long. I'm sure it was really hard for people to gauge what was going on, but that just gives them more motivation to go back and play the game themselves. But yeah, I don't think we should make it too stressful for people. I think Nightbot
Sure.
can handle this.
Yeah, sure.
To the bots.
Let's
This
go
is
ahead
bot
and
work.
do this here. Let me put all
AI's
this in
taking
here.
over.
That's AI work. That's bot work.
I will proudly say that there is absolutely nothing AI generated in our game, because how would an AI do any of this weird shit? It wouldn't. It's,
True story.
Yeah.
All right.
AI, voice Hamish.
I'm setting this up here. People in chat, you are eligible to win. Let's see what Nightbot says. Roll it. Okay.
Here we go.
Locklith, you have won a copy of Lil Guardsman.
Congratulations.
OMG.
Nightbot, how did you?
Nightbot is chosen.
I can tell you, Locklith is a North American switch code.
Nice. Great.
Yeah.
The only caveat on these is tell your friends about our game. If you know anyone who you think would love it, let them know.
Yes. Locklith, you make a video about it, promote the game, tell everybody about it. Locklith's a fellow content creator here on YouTube, and
Yeah.
she's also one of the
She'll be
folks
the
from-
one going for all the coziest options.
Beautiful.
In fact, I'll just plug Locklith's channel there. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and do this. Let's so we got 2 more to roll here. And Hambone Johnny, who literally just came into the chat. Congratulations.
This will mean nothing to you, but it will soon.
Hey guys, how's everything going on? You won! What?
Congratulations.
Free shit for you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, be sure to tell everyone. Hambone Johnny also does stream on Twitch from time to time. So Johnny, this is a great stream game. So yeah, very cool. Okay.
Congratulations.
One more spin of the roll here for Nightbot. Let's see what we
wrap up our night. That's great.
Pat in the chat wins a copy of
Yeah.
Lil Guardsman. Yes. Very good. Enjoy that, Pat. Cool, man.
Playing.
But again, if you want to pick it up yourselves, it's on sale through the 23rd again, gentlemen?
Correct. That's right. Yes. And we are part of Ludonarracon right now, which is organized by the publisher Fellow Traveler, and it's a festival of narrative games. It's a festival on Steam, and just lots of free demos that just dropped today. Lots of really cool games.
Yes, the After Love EP demo just dropped. That made me so happy.
Yeah, so like if you're curious about what to play next, it's a great sort of curated collection of story forward games. So check it out.
Yeah, Seth and I were just talking about that game too.
Yeah, we were. Well, and I want to stress to people too, again, there's a purchase link in the video description to pick this game up on its first big sale. We love the game. We love these guys. We're so happy to show it off to y'all. This is a really special game, and I hope you guys, have enjoyed watching it and seeing a little bit of it in action. But there's much, much more than what we showed here.
Yes, it may seem like we showed a lot. This really is not even the tip of the iceberg for what happens in Lil Guardsman. Highly recommend you guys check this game out for yourself. And we hope that you do. And we hope that you let us know how much you love it. We hope you guys reach out to Hilltop Games and let them know how much you love it when you finally stop being the heathens that you are and play this amazing title.
Thank you guys so much for having us. This was a blast.
Yeah, so much fun. Thanks.
Yeah, whenever
Thanks,
you guys
guys.
want to come do something with us, I think that's an automatic yes. You guys are amazing.
Oh, yeah.
We always have such fun hanging out, talking video games with you guys. So just thank you for helping put this together with us and giving out a couple copies of a game that anybody with, half an IQ point would gladly pay money for.
Well, it's our pleasure, and we'll hold you to it. Let's figure out a non-Hilltop game to jam on.
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, I dig that. We'll definitely have to put that
to.
together. Put that on the calendar for very near future. But once again, gentlemen, Scott, thank you for coming back. And despite the fact that you don't have a beard, sir, it was wonderful having you as well.
Thanks so much, guys.
Yeah, have a good one. Thanks,
for
everybody.
Scott,
You too.
Jeremy. Thanks everybody for watching. Put you on an ending screen now. Be sure to like and subscribe and all that fun stuff before you head out, folks. Thanks for watching. Follow these guys at Play Hilltop as well, and stay up to date with everything they're doing. We'll catch you next time.
And episode 191 of All In a Nintendo Podcast to hear more from Scott and Artem on the game.
Okay, bye y'all.